You're a holiday powerhouse. You host the dinners, shovel neighbors' sidewalks, and make everything from scratch. You definitely don't need help making the holidays happen. But Dunkin's Holiday Blend Coffee? A warming medium roast complete with sweet notes of dried fruit and molasses. Or a cranberry orange muffin made with real cranberries just might convince you a little help never hurt. Especially the hot caffeinated kind. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
The JCPenney Mystery Sale is back for the holidays. Through Thursday, usher in huge holiday savings with our in-store coupon giveaway. You can get an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off while they last. Simply find an associate for a coupon, then peel to reveal your deal. Hurry in now to discover the savings you've been wishing for. We got your holiday. JCPenney. Coupon valid on select styles through 12/15. Exclusions apply. Giveaway in-store only. Must be 18 years or older. See store for details.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, here may I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Having a better week than a lot of people, and a worse week than others. So, what's up with you, man?
I mean, that's true every week. It just depends on which people, right? I'm doing all right. A little tired, but we'll make this thing work as usual. It ain't nearly as bad as like the flu game thing we did a few months ago. My God, but yeah, I am just a little tired. But anyway, let's get to it. There's a lot of stuff. For a week where there's no like WWE pay-per-view, there's no Stardom pay-per-view, believe it or not, there's no big New Japan news, there's no big WWE thing or whatever, there's no big AEW thing. Like, this was a lot of news in what is kind of a quiet week. But where do you want to start?
I appreciate them for that. Before we get to that, we do have to do some general housekeeping. We have coming up the recording session for the FOH draft. I think this is going to be the 6th one, if I'm not mistaken. If you guys aren't familiar with the FOH draft, you can check out the archives back on the Social Suplex Podcast Network feed. Is where we go insane at the end of the year. We do a show, we have drinks on the air, and we get very drunk.
It's not just that
in
we
a lot of
drink
cases.
on air. It's also that we drink in pregame before we go on air.
Yes.
So we start
we
drunk
come
and
in,
progressively get drunker in theory. Yeah.
Yep. And we basically shoot on the business. We draft like all the biggest, like, bad or all the worst kind of things that happened over the year, whether it's news or bad storylines or, all out L's or whatever we want to rant on, pretty much. And it's very entertaining and it's
failed
really
agenda
dope.
Failed agenda plots. Yeah.
Yep. So last year we put it behind the pay hip, so you guys could do like a proud to pay type model. So you could do like, if you wanted to pay $5 for it, you wanted to pay like $10 for it. We had somebody that paid $50 for it last year. So whatever you guys want to put down on it, we would appreciate it. And it's like a way for you guys to thank us at the end of the year. For all the entertainment and all the, we give you a pretty great show in return for that. So, yes, I heard about that to Jerry Newsbraven. I'm still trying to process it all. So, yeah, man, it's that thing's gonna be fun. Do you know what you're drinking yet, or are you gonna reserve that for on air?
No, I normally don't do that. Like I know that Josh is infusing spirits. That
Josh is working on his drinks right now, playing around like a little kid.
Yeah, fucking amateur alchemist. What? but he's preparing. I haven't heard anything about Jeremy and what he's doing. But
if I had to guess, Jeremy will have like that orange, like those orange type beers he does. Okay. I don't know what they're called, but like it's like those like citrusy type ones. But
okay, yeah,
you might switch it up on me.
Yeah, I know you every year you seem to do something different. Me, like I just whatever comes to mind, I'll grab. We'll see what happens. We'll see what we end up grabbing. But yeah.
I will be on the wine this year. I'm gonna do the wine this year. Like I've been, so like I feel like I've been pretty diverse over the years. So like there was
I think the first year you just drank Henny straight, and I was like, okay,
yeah. It was Henny. It was Henny straight a couple years, and then it was the White Claws. That one really got me fucked up. I think I did Goose Straight last year. So this time it will be the Vintner's Red. So if y'all ever want to get on that, it's not that expensive. It's really great. So very, very tastes very good. So I got put on to that about a year ago. So yeah, Henny Straight. That was the Henny on the rocks or whatever. But yeah, it was nuts. But yeah, that's gonna be dope. But yeah, man, I guess we should start with the big news up front, kind of. So there was news that came out that said Sasha Banks will be appearing at Wrestle Kingdom, and she is done with WWE. A lot of reporting has come out since from Mike Johnson to Dave Meltzer. Even Voice of Wrestling with Joe Lanza, and it was I did not do Four Loko. I cared about myself.
we were just talking about Four Loko this weekend, right? Jamie from our Largo Loop friendship clique or whatever else you want to call it, like he suggested while I'm in Japan that I try a strong zero, and I was like, what is that? What is it like the American equivalent of? And he was like, I don't know, a Four Loko, and I was like, why were you? I thought we were friends. Like, why the fuck were you suggesting to me? And he was talking about how good it was. I was like, if this is in fact a Four Loko, then I need to like see if you are okay. If there's anything you want me to listen to, because like for your sake, for your well being, I'm willing to listen, because it can't never come to that. It can't never come to that. I think I ended up totaling that thing like, I'd rather snort coke than drink another Four Loko in my life. Not happening. Not doing it. Speaking of coke, we'll get to that later. But yeah, man. Nah, no, thank you. Four Loko, can't do it. Cannot do it.
Yeah, man. I always heard about it. Never wanted to try it. So, they basically announced that Sasha Banks is going to appear at Wrestle Kingdom 17. There was, a lot of kind of wondering like exactly how that'll be done. I guess that remains to be seen. Like as far as like what, this could be just, her walking out as a challenger. It could be her having some type of short match, like kind of like, like an exhibition win before the women's match happens, and then kind of she calls her shot. That's kind of like the you remember Wrestle Kingdom 17, how they had Cody and Juice Robinson, where it was kind of like a short dominant like match or whatever.
13,
I think it was 11. So
11, okay,
yeah. So I don't. This lines up with all the stuff of her not taking bookings until January 1st. She's been trademarking Up a Storm, Mercedes Moné, a couple different other things. And I actually listened to some of our old stuff where we were covering Sasha and her departure from WWE. And I just got to say, man, the level of cope that I saw on this timeline already. We haven't even she hasn't even debuted yet, James. They've lost their minds already. I already put somebody on the Summer Jam screen to the tune of 2,400 likes on Twitter for switching up the game on some ludicrous shit. And it's a lot of copium, a lot of denial, a lot of people that are going to struggle to explain this stuff. And I feel like, I feel like this is a column I'm going to write, but I don't know how to tell y'all, but Sasha Banks has been leaving WWE for years. Like, this was always what she wanted to do back in 2019. Like, she was trying to get out of there. And then she came back, under more promises. And it's like, I don't understand why people think that, every big event that would go by, they'd be like, oh yeah, Sasha, this is going to be the one. She's coming back. People talk themselves into it. And she's wired different than a lot of these folks. And I've seen people make the comments like she did the interview with Stone Cold. She essentially laid out the whole thing. We already have made the case of how they've never really valued her. And it's, you think about WWE, I don't think WWE is ever going to pay her as a top star because they've never seen her as a top star, despite, basically being essentially like doing actually the one that's moving numbers, like with the Roman stuff. And you could point at Sasha clearly being one that's moved numbers and not necessarily, in his case, but it is always strange how they've treated her. I've lamented the days of her having to put over Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, how she got moved out the way for Ronda Rousey this year. And I think we should probably remind everyone, because I think they seem to struggle about how exactly this departure exactly happened and the circumstances around it. Mm-hmm. Like, this woman was set to wrestle Charlotte for the championship by all accounts before Ronda Rousey shows up.
Yep.
Ronda Rousey shows up. They move her out the way. People that have
and like, wasn't she supposed to win the Rumble too?
Presumably.
Yeah, presumably, yeah.
People have talked themselves into thinking like Sasha Banks and Naomi's like this long time, like they're this duo, this package deal. It is not like that. Like, and like these two are like their own separate cases, I feel like. And
they haven't been they're not some long time act. Like, they've been an act before when they were Team Bad in 2015, but like they're friends, whatever, but they're not like, it's not like it's Bayley and Sasha, for example, that they would make you, think of it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
People seem to forget these two were thrown together to pacify Sasha, to win that, to give him a championship. Like, hey, we know we couldn't let you, we had to take this from you, so we're going to go ahead and give you this championship, and we'll let you do something with it, whatever, And it was after that, the promises were not kept, and they were continued to being used as the, how they use the women's titles. They're basically stepping stones for the singles belts whenever they want to have the champions do all that stuff. And Sasha Banks was like, no, I'm better than this. And Naomi as well. I'm better than this. And I don't know if it even like registers with people, like when they call her like ungrateful and all this shit. And it's like, what does she have to be grateful for? Like, how did they necessarily treat her so good? And I know people are going to throw, oh, she main evented WrestleMania. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay, man. They let Kevin Owens main event one of those on accident, like this year. Like, does that really change anything? Like, did I like Sasha and Bianca? I sure did. Were there 2 nights of WrestleMania? Yes. Would have ever main evented WrestleMania in a normal year where there was one WrestleMania? Fuck no. Like, we don't have to pretend. We don't have to lie. We don't have to cap. Like, and I'm not even going to get into her usage over the years as far as like her not being able to defend the titles and shit. And like, her being like the greatest women's wrestler this country's ever produced, and she was essentially Charlotte Flair built her legend on Sasha Banks' back, and there's a lot, man. There's a lot, and then the for the people to only want her to stay there to deal with that claims she's your favorite wrestler or your stand for her. You're fucking ridiculous. Like, I can't believe that you would want her to stay in those positions. Why? Because you don't really like Sasha Banks. You just like WWE. Stop the fucking cap. James, all yours, man.
I mean, there's so much to it. Like, in my mind, I'm just going over the stuff you just laid out and thinking about how, like, yeah, she did end up getting being given a run with Naomi for the women's tag titles, which, like, then invokes, like, the 2019 time when she left over those same tag titles. And it brings me back to the point where you were saying about how, like, people want her to just be grateful, and, like, that's problematic in and of itself. That you're just telling a black woman, no less, to, like, just be grateful for any little bit you got, right?
Just enjoy it. That's the same energy.
Yeah. And we'll get to that too, I guess. But it's been a long road of, like, disgruntlement, and I don't know if that's a word, but, like, just, like, frustration with her. Eventually, I'm sure, if this actually comes to fruition, there will be the big tell-all podcast on, with Renee or Jericho, where, like, I might stay up in anticipation for that one. But until we get it, we'll just wait on that. But there's so many things we've heard about frustration that are from that have, like, boiled over to the forefront in ways that, like, things that, like, we didn't even hear about with Dean Ambrose, right? / John Moxley. And then we got that podcast, and we're like, oh, he's hated every single thing that we've hated about his last, like, 6 months in the company. He wants to fuck out too. So I get it. So imagine what we're going to get, potentially, with the stuff we do know, where it's like they have yoked her around. Like, you look at, WrestleMania 32, she didn't win. It made no sense for Charlotte to win at the time. But she won because reasons. The getting to 2019 with the women's tag titles, where, like, they won them at Elimination Chamber, I believe, right?
Yes.
And then they lost them at WrestleMania.
They pulled those shits out of nowhere, like, in, like, a month.
Yeah. And then they lose them, immediately. And that sent her off a cliff, or sent her away because she was in frustration. And then she came back, she came back and immediately was, like, putting in, like, the hottest feud in the company at the time with her and Becky. And they had, an amazing set of matches, especially the Hell in a Cell match. One of the better matches in the main roster that year. One of the very best. So yeah, moving forward from that, like, 2020, they let her do some cool things. Like, I'm sure she always wanted to wrestle Io, and then she, was able to do that. She was able to wrestle the Kabuki Warrior program or whatever else. And then get to the Sasha and Bayley thing that, like, they had obviously wanted to do since 2018, but, like, Vince kept dragging his feet on it for forever, and then dragged his feet to a way to where it's like, now there's no crowd. Thanks. Awesome. So I'm sure that'll be listed as reason for frustration. And then, as you just mentioned, like, all indications were that she was going to win the Rumble. Unless Ronda was coming out, and then Ronda comes out and she's moved aside again. And, there were talks of she was asking, or her asking price to return to WWE was something that would have upset their books as far as, like, roster salary, as far as it's the most they've ever paid, or like the most they've ever paid for a woman or something along those lines. And
I got my thoughts on that. I personally, I don't really think it's about the money for Sasha. Like, I think it's about the push, and then the money is the insurance, where she figures that, if you pay me a certain level, you can't push me out the way anymore.
Yeah.
That's just my read on it.
That's definitely that. There's definitely something.
Have inside info.
There's definitely something to that. There's also, like, I'm gonna give you. There's also like I know they're not going to do this, but like I'll throw out a number that is so high to where it's FU money from her perspective. That it's like I made my point. If I get you to bend the knee and call me back, or call my lawyer and say okay, right? There's part of that as well. So yeah, I think that she's been done with WWE, or was prepared to check out and move on. And like, you see some of the things she's doing. She's shooting for a movie. I think she's working towards a life post wrestling. But while like she has this opportunity, it looks like she's trying to see what she can do outside of WWE to keep herself like at a high level as far as an asking price. Similar to what we've seen with people like Cody, people we've seen like Rey Mysterio. I think that she loves her fans. I think that like similar thing to Moxley. Like it's not by forever. Like I think that Moxley will eventually one day show up to do the induction for the Shield and for Dean Ambrose and all that kind of stuff for WWE. Do I think he'll have a rust for them? No. But like as far as the stuff for the fans and all that kind of stuff, I think he'll do that. For the WWE fans, the sports entertainment enthusiasts. So I think he'll do all that stuff. I think Sasha will be the same way. So yeah, like I think that this sets the stage for her potentially to like have, an incredible run. You've always been a bigger fan of Sasha than me. But like as far as like your correct take that like she's the best women's in-ring performer that like this country's ever produced. Yeah. And I have always thought of like, even when we did last year, the Sasha Orth game, whatever, it was always like, can you imagine if a horsewoman or if Asuka or if Io were to come back, or Kyrie, for example, just recently, like they were to come back and like wrestle this just the loaded roster that is Stardom and see what they could do. And like it looks like we have a realistic shot of seeing that, and I'm like excited for that because like it's Sasha against opponents she's never wrestled before, and like over time eventually they will make her wrestle up to their level. And you got to think in WWE, obviously she's had some incredible matches, right? But like, what it is with the pacing, what it is with the, the certain rules that they have for women's wrestlers, as far as violence, whatever else.
I saw someone calling for a Momo Watanabe match, and I was like, man, the stands are going to want Momo Watanabe arrested when that foot strikes with that chest.
But the thing is, if she's signing up to wrestle Stardom wrestlers in New Japan, she knows what she's getting herself into. Doesn't mean it is going to hurt any less, but like she has agreed to the hyperviolence, if you will. So like that was the thing for me. When Kyrie first came back, was like first weekend back, like she ruptures her eardrum, she does a shoot headbutt, and like it felt like she was back. But like as far as like wrestling to the level of the top of the promotion, she didn't really do that until the Gold Rush historic crossover weekend, and like that was one of my favorite weekends of wrestling, to see her to reach back and be like, all the stuff you saw on video, like it ain't just lost forever and whatever else, because I went to WWE and I shut my brain off on wrestling. Like it took me, it took her a while to get her sea legs, if you will, pun intended, there. And like that's the thing that excites me for Sasha, to see like what is it like when like the swag is totally unlocked, like, and she can do everything that they told her, or so many things that they told her at times. Nah, don't do that. And so that's what really excites me. And then like she has the roster that's like, you want to do that? Okay, we did something like that, about 5 months ago. We can do that again, like something insane to her in her mind. Like I think that like this is very it changes all the directions of things you can do in the ring. So I'm really excited for that and see like what the possibilities are now that like the limiter's off.
So we got a new report today with her from Voice of Wrestling, Joe Lanza. Make sure you guys check it out, Patreon. Basically, I'm not going to read it word for word here, but he said essentially the Sasha and Bushi Road negotiations started, right after she walked out on WWE. Rossi basically came out here.
No, stop. Let's stop right there. Sorry, Rich. Tampering. That's tampering. Like, I understand different country, you know, they're not going to go after and pursue whatever else, but like when people talk about AEW and WWE and all and whatever else, so like I'm not saying that necessarily like Rossi like DM'd her on Twitter or had Sonny DM Sasha on Twitter, but it's like obviously like somebody said some go between or whatever else to let her know like, hey, if there's a possibility, like let's talk. So like that's tampering. That's tampering, and like it happens everywhere. And like, let it happen, let it go. Let's do this.
So, Rossi was basically telling the wrestlers that Sasha like had followed the promotion. She had mutual interests. Also, you know, that post January booking timeline so lines up. However, Rossi was like lost interest when Sasha like dropped that price on him that was like way beyond Stardom's budget, and then basically it goes over from there to Kadani. He basically greenlights Rossi to basically pursue the deal, and right now like there's not a full contract or anything for her, but what they have is like a limited appearance deal. So think like maybe like, you know, your Chris Jericho stuff, and the number that she's set to reportedly come through will make her is significantly higher than the Jericho number, and it's going to make her by far the highest paid Bushiroad contracted wrestler. From there, like it's like a small limited dates number of limited dates. Bushiroad may feel that they can't afford to invest in her full time, but they'll pay. It seems like they're going to try to, you know, shoot their shot with maybe like 3 or 4, like maybe 3 or 4 shows, and then basically in those 4 shows try to capture whoever they can off of Sasha being there. That also brings into play January 11th. They announced a mystery partner they did a angle with Saraya and Britt Baker, where Britt challenged Saraya to a tag team match January 11th. This is obviously a week after Wrestle Kingdom, so this is Kenny will be returning, and then presumably Saraya will have to get a mystery partner to join her, and all signs point to Mercedes Moné as well. So
yeah, to the point to where like it may very well, it could not be her, but at this point,
who could it be?
No, hold on, let me finish. If it isn't her, you need to announce who it, because they didn't say it was like a mystery partner. Like it's not gonna be announced, like because it's a few weeks. Like if it ain't her, they need to be like, hey.
I mean,
like this. No, like this particular
AEW did this before all this shit came out. So yeah. Look, if people want to think that's on them.
No. I'm just saying, I'm doing the if in an alternate world where like it isn't in fact her, it's someone else, right? If it ain't her, they need to announce that it ain't her right now, like this week, so people don't go in anticipation for it being her. You get what I'm saying? Like the longer this goes, where they don't say it's announce who it is, the more likely it is her. That's what I'm getting at.
I don't think they have any incentive to squash that, like to do anything like that, because
if it's not her,
because they were in front of all this news, like they're shooting an angle, so let that shit ride. Like I don't think they need to come out here and be like, yeah, it's not Sasha Banks, because they have like in your theory, they would have no contractual obligation to Sasha Banks.
No, not that it's not her, that it's anyone else, because the second that person comes out, what's going to happen? The crowd's going to be like, we thought it was Sasha Banks.
And that's them. Like for thinking that, like, you know, if you're going to be disappointed for that, I think that's on them. I don't think that's okay. AEW needs to jump out and say it is not Sasha Banks.
It's not about saying that it's not Sasha Banks. In that way, it's about announcing who it is, so that the fans don't immediately be like, "Oh, it's not Sasha Banks," because that's immediately what the crowd's going to do, whether you think that's fair or not. That's exactly what they're going to do. So, like, the way you get ahead of the crowd is to be like, cut off right now and be like, it's actually person X. Whoever X is, if it's not Sasha. But the longer it goes where you don't announce it's Sasha, the more like it damn well better be Sasha. Otherwise, people will be mad.
Look, I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. They announced that shit like over a month in advance for a random women's match. They never do a shit like that. I think that's pretty clear on what's happening here.
And that's where I'm getting on with the Occam's razor part, where it's like, it's if you're playing off the CM Punk Rampage second Rampage show, like, then you just, and also like, who do you think's floating this stuff out?
There are some people that think Mike Johnson is Sasha's guy. So if it comes from Mike Johnson, as far as the like, there's some backstage nastiness going on here. Something's happening to where I feel like if you are TK and you are Bushi Road, chances are you're in communication over a lot of things. If there was news that you wanted to get out there, I would think if the news is going to leak in a certain order, it would leak in the order it did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it would have come out her being linked to AEW first, because then that would immediately like be like, well, that means she can probably do Wrestle Kingdom or something like that. I don't know. There's something going on here.
Well, I think if you go to the AEW thing immediately, like, you don't think about Wrestle Kingdom at all. But if you do the Wrestle Kingdom thing first, like, naturally you're going to be like, oh shit, does that also mean, what do we all immediately do with the January 11th thing in the forum? Like, same thing. So like, it all builds anticipation on top of each other, doing it the way that it's being done. And also, like, you hear about like the sticker price or whatever else. If it was obviously like, and I guess now it's time to drop the part where it's like Rossi, like, convinced Kadani to flip the bill for Sasha Banks by creating this title and putting that shit on New Japan, and this shit's all on the Bush Road budget, but not the starter budget. Rossi's a Finesser of the Year candidate off this shit. But like, thinking about it from that perspective of like, yeah, they're doing that and then moving on. Like, if that kind of price tag for the a la carte limited date thing for Sasha is that high, then like somebody, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world if he found out someone was helping flip the bill. And, like, it could very well be Tony Khan, especially given, like, also what is thrown into, like, what might be Strong being put potentially on Honor Club as well. So, like, I think this is all, like, working upon each other. Now that I think it's all coming together in that particular way. So, when they talked about, they wanted, the IWGP Women's title to help with drawing for Strong shows or whatever else. Well, like, for all the talk of, like, whether it was Kyrie or it was Mayu, like, Sasha does a lot more for that than either one of them. And I remember when they first announced the IWGP Women's title, they did say, like, there was I believe the quote was, unbelievably famous pro wrestler that was going to be involved. That didn't come to fruition. It's almost as if this was, they thought that she was going to be out in the summer. And then, like, now it's time for her to be here. Yeah, so, yeah, like, this seems to be a lot more, like, a lot longer coming than like, we thought. Like, as far as this whole thing, like, they could have been talking about this since the beginning of since she left. Like, she walked out the door and was like, fuck this. How do I start up? How do I just start over? And it was, like, immediately going down, like, first place to go. And here we are. So, it's going to be exciting to see wherever she lands, because apparently she's out of her contract at the end of this year.
I am going to January 4th and January 11th are going to be all-time Twitter days. All time. Yeah. Can't wait. Line it up. Start bookmarking the tweets now. Look, yeah, if you see something good, send it to me. The DM, like, I don't think the DMs are open, but make sure I see it. Because I will be bringing it all back to the light.
Brewhaven made a great point. Roger,
there will be nastiness. Oh yeah. He was out there on Twitter this week, basically, in ways where he could, plausibly deny it. He was taking the victory lap.
Yeah. I mean, if he had it right, then he had it right.
If he had it right, I think a lot of people need to get their back straight for old Raj.
Because the thing with Raj is like I find his opinions to be trash, much like the same thing with at times with Ryan Satin. But like I don't necessarily question their reporting.
Right. Yeah.
I just think
there's going to be a lot of there's going to be podcasts that completely ignore what she's doing. There's going to be just and y'all know the podcast. I don't want to start podcast beef, but there will be people that will remain on mute and seethe and cope when they have to talk about these things. But, why? Because it challenges their view of pro wrestling. They have to learn more. They have to not know as much as they think, and it's scary for them.
Yeah.
The bad faithers, they are in hell, James. Hell right now, having to deal with this.
So that is something worth, that is definitely worth mentioning. My question is like, as far as, talking about the Western expansion for Stardom and Bushiroad and New Japan, like, this is obviously a huge get for them. I'm interested to see, like, Tanya, now's the time. Now's the time. It's, over I think it was over the summer, she was saying, like,
Stardom, do it.
Stardom's a little interesting, whatever else. And, we even seen her on Twitter say something along the lines of, like, look, if Sasha show up, I'm all elite too. Look, if Sasha shows up, New Japan Pro Wrestling, you get to know some of the wrestlers. She seems to be quite fond of seeing some of the stuff that Tam does online. So, yeah, like, I'm, whenever this stuff comes together, like, we're here every week covering Stardom. We're here to fill you in. We're here for all of you. So for those that are true Sasha fans, that are there for Sasha, Mercedes Varnado, and all of that, we are here for you, and we will help you figure out who the fuck she's gonna wrestle on these big shows, and we'll give you the background on these people. Because, like, look, those matches are gonna be fun. At worst, like, regardless of whatever, like Sasha will be in the ring most likely with someone that's better than her. Now, I understand you want to turn off the podcast when I say that. Don't do that yet. I'm just telling you what it is and what the output is. And when it comes to Stardom, there are two digits of wrestlers that are in the ring better than Sasha. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be really fun.
I love the fact that you bring up the point of the rosters, right? Because, man, I might just have to pull up something right here. So I'm looking at the women's division on Monday Night Raw. Now, James, she would not have to wrestle Alexa Bliss.
Nope.
She would not have to wrestle Carmella. She would not have to wrestle. She would not have to wrestle Dana Brooke.
Nope.
She would not have to wrestle Nikki Cross. She would not have to wrestle Tamina. Shall I pull up SmackDown now?
Sure.
She would not have to wrestle Aaliyah with 1A. She will not have to wrestle B-Fab. She will not have to wrestle Emma. She will not have to face the women's right of Lacey Evans. She will not have to wrestle the sorry Liv Morgan. She will not have to wrestle Natalya for the 900th time. She will not have to face Raquel Rodriguez. She will not have to face Ronda sorry-ass Rousey. She will not have to face Scarlett. She will not have to face Shotzi. She will not have to face Sonya Deville. She will not have to face Valhalla, a.k.a. What the fuck is her name? Sarah Logan. She will not have to face Zelina Vega. What are we saying here? She will not have to face several sorry motherfuckers. Be happy.
Rich, that's the thing. We get the glow because we know. There's so, like, regardless of whatever success Stardom has had in the last 4 years, there are so many people that have no fucking idea. There's so many people that don't. There's so many that don't. And, like, that's the part that I enjoy most about this is, like, it's going to be great to see those matches, but it's also going to be, like, people are going to look around and be like, holy shit. Who the fuck is Natsupoi? Like, it's going to be stuff like that, right? It's going to be people that are like...
Oh, I'll fill y'all in.
Yeah, and that's why we're here for you, right? Like, who the fuck is Suzuki? Obviously, we don't know if they're going to get... if those people will be in those matches, but, like, the top stars outside of probably Julia, but like a Shuri, an Utami, a Tam, like that stuff's gonna be really fun. A Mayu, of course, like that stuff's gonna be really fun. So like I'm with it. And like it's gonna, and plus the people are gonna be upset, and they're gonna lie about some of these matches. They're like, what they gonna do if, like, you know, by the time we get to like the third match, like her third match, she finally gets sea legs under her, and she has like a match that's better than any match that's ever happened in WWE in the women's division.
They
will not know how to handle that.
It's gonna be some real cope. They'll be like, "What you mean it was better than, you know, the match she had at Brooklyn? Like, easy, like."
And that's
what you mean?
And that's the thing. That's also gonna be funny about
like,
it, right?
hey, bro, that shit happens all the time. Like,
yeah, that happens like every 2 months here. It happens every 2 months here.
Oh yes, Brewhaven. The subtle racism will jump out. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, definitely. Like, that's always inherent. Like, that's the reason why, like, you know, it's so hard to get people to watch Stardom. It's like, one is Japanese wrestling, so they're gonna be like, well, they don't speak English, so we don't give a fuck. And then it's gonna be, oh, it's women that don't speak English. We definitely don't give a fuck. Like, it's gonna be a whole lot of like people, like, you know, like pulling down the mask on this one.
I can't wait till Julia's a little bit too rough with her. I can't wait. You know.
Like you mentioned if Momo gets a hold of her and kicks her, bro. When Shuri lets off one of them fucking kicks, that sound like a fucking baseball bat just hit a watermelon. Oh my god! Oh, that's gonna be so good. They will want Shuri Kondo arrested. They'd be like, why they let this fucking UFC? Why they let this former UFC fighter come in here and just hit people like it's still UFC? That's bullshit. It's gonna be so fucking good. I can't wait, man. These matches are gonna be awesome, man. These matches are gonna be awesome.
And
or
also,
at least highly enjoyable.
Something else I might get a good laugh at. Britt Baker will own y'all again. She will defeat y'all. Britt Baker will be the one to welcome Mercedes.
They're gonna have to do that. They're gonna have to.
I welcome it.
They're gonna have to do that at some point. Like, but the thing that interests me is like, if this is the, you know, she is doing the hookup, right? Like, do Stardom, also do AEW. Like the thing that I'm interested in is like, you know, the people that she could wrestle. Like, she could wrestle Sheeta, she could wrestle Riho, she could wrestle Thunder Rosa when she comes back. She wrestled Jamie Hayter. Like, I don't know if they've ever wrestled before, but like Toni Storm, like. There's a lot of
house show stuff.
This is so much.
Think anything.
This is so much of a. She's done it all in WWE. Now it's like it's a new character, a new roster, people for her to wrestle. They're fresher. That is just a fresher thing. So it's like,
and that's why I don't understand people that say.
I'm really excited for her. Really am.
But I don't understand someone that would say there's nothing for her to do elsewhere. I'm like, there's plenty for her to do. Like, she can work on possibly being a Wrestling Observer Hall of Famer. I know that's not important to everyone, right? But if she comes out here and starts popping business elsewhere, like a real star, on top of already being in WWE for years and years, she's probably your best bet.
From the US side, outside of Moxley?
Yeah, and I don't even know how Moxley did. Oh, he's on the ballot, I think.
Next year.
Next year. Okay.
He's up next year.
Okay. But he fell off the first time he went on. So, like, I think it was not last year, maybe the year before.
Okay.
I don't know.
He, you know, much like how we thought that, like, Punk would have, if not for the fiasco, would have probably, you know, gotten in or whatever else, or would have made a very compelling case for the full year, if not for an injury, and then, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, Moxley almost has like a. It's gonna be real interesting to see where he lands. I think that he's done enough in his AEW run to pretty much like sow this that he's gonna get in. Like, I'd be shocked if he didn't end up with like at least 50% of the vote next year.
So I guess we should move on to specifically that topic. The Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame has some new members. I believe 6 wrestlers, 2 promoters. No Americans, so everyone was whining and crying about all the Americans that didn't get in, and in particular, there was a lot of CM Punk crying about him not getting in. Just a thought. Maybe don't go down in flames months before the Observer voting comes out. And also just like the crazy shit I would see, like, hey, these wrestlers in other regions, like, they shouldn't get in before, just having no concept of how this thing works. But without further ado, the people that were voted in were the tag team of Kira Taue and Toshiaki Kawada, Holy Demon Army. They were like no brainer, pretty much 76%. Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito got in. We got Los Villanos from Mexico for tag team, and Rollerball, Mark Rocco. I'm sure if you ask a question to Keepin It Strong Style, Josh Smith will be able to give you a lot on Rollerball, Mark Rocco.
That don't sound good when you say, defer that to him over there.
And also Mystico,
right,
who you guys may know is the former Sin Cara.
The original Sin Cara, yeah.
Yep. So, interesting votes here. I was stumping hard for JYD. He ended up with a 6% bump, and he's going to go into historical next year. So I don't know if that's going to make it easier or harder for him. So the journey continues there. Hopefully that thing can be solved. But I guess what we kind of want to talk about here is like Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito going in. So these guys are both members of the 2010s New Japan Dynamite class, like, of guys, your Okadas, Omegas, and Tanahashis, and it seems like there's one more guy to get in here, and Tomohiro Ishii didn't make it. He was stuck at 38%. Got to think he's going to do better now that Ibushi and Naito are kind of cleared out of there. As far as Ibushi and Naito, what do you think about these guys getting it?
I've said to you years ago, at least 2 years ago, like, I would vote for them to be in. I think it was probably like when Omega got in, and was that 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, after that, I was like, okay, they need to be in. I'm not necessarily ranking any of them in front of each other. Like, as far as the international drawing thing, that's a trump card that Omega has over Naito in that sense, but like, they're two of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. Like, I understand like late 2000s New Japan Pro Wrestling or 2010s New Japan Pro Wrestling had like just had a group of all time guys, right? They mentioned Ishii, Okada, Tanahashi, Shibata, people like that ilk. Hiromu Ospreay, all that stuff, right? I'm not denying that, but all these dudes are some of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life, and in the most clearest sense of a Hall of Fame, like, if Tetsuya Naito's not a Hall of Famer, if Kota Ibushi's not a Hall of Famer, who the fuck really is? So yeah, it made sense to me. I would have voted for them in the last couple years, and I'm glad they're in. If Ibushi didn't have this weird thing where all his shirts had to be white, then I'd probably be wearing an Ibushi shirt right now, but I'm wearing the LIJ shirt. So congrats to Naito. Like, a person that has frustrated me at times, but like, if it's time for him to clock in, like, his floor is as high as 99.9% of the pro wrestling world ever when it comes to a big match situation. Like, there are matches that he's had that I'm like, 4.5, but it's like a 4.5 star match. What you're complaining about? And that's the kind of level we're talking about with like the top of New Japan, in the last, decade plus. So yeah, he's one of those dudes, and I'm glad he's up there. And like, for a lot of fans, I feel like this is, like, they've long waited for this, as far as like when the recognition that he's going to get, from like, let's say the hardcore fans over here, like, because yeah, he is one of the best wrestlers ever. But there's always been this thing where it's like, backdoor to, or he had to play like the second fiddle to Okada for much of it. That's why he's the black, the dark ace and all that kind of stuff, or black ace or whatever. And then like when it's him and Omega both chasing Okada during the 2017 title run, and it's like it's Omega the ones that actually topple him. It's like he had to take backstage in that particular sense as well. So like, yeah, from the storyline perspective, for a person that has been as big of a merchandise mover in top of the line guys he has been, like, I can see why, like, that could be very frustrating if you are a huge Naito fan. But, like, make no mistake, for, like, all the things that I see as valid reasons for why, or somewhat valid reasons for why, like, they didn't actually put the ball behind them all the way because of effort level or just age and injury and mileage or whatever else. Like, that dude is an amazing wrestler, and I would have voted for him, and I'm happy that he's in. Now, Ibushi, man, like, when I think of Ibushi, I don't know how many people, when I think of what goes into an in-ring performer, like, all of the attributes, if you will, is a video game and creating a wrestler, right? I don't know how many people, maybe, how many people I've ever seen that, like, just naturally fill out in their prime, filled out, like, the attribute level, like he did. Ospreys comes to mind, Omega comes to mind, and, probably people like Kenta Kobashi. And then, like, that's it. Like, the level of just quickness, fluidity, flying, technical ability, the ability to sell, striking, like literally like the fearlessness of not caring, like, if I break my neck, so be it. It's way up there at all-time level. Obviously, things aren't going that great with him of late, with the shoulder injury and his seeming incoming exit out of New Japan Pro Wrestling. But, like, that dude was in those years. Like, was it 4 straight G1 finals?
Yeah.
You think of those G1s, and, like, you think of, like, the class of those runs from 2018 or 19.
Even before, like, like 2017 when he started coming back, like, as a full timer essentially.
Yeah, and, like, think of, like, he was always an MVP threat in those tournaments. Some of the greatest tournaments of all time. He was always, like, always will place more or less for MVP. Like, that dude's a Hall of Famer. Like, so, like, 2 dudes that have, like, all matches in my mind, like, immediately I think of the G1 Naito, the 2016 G1 final with Omega. Like, that might be the best match I've ever seen. It's not Omega. Like, the Wrestle Kingdom 14 match between Ibushi and Okada, where, like, they have to follow, like, maybe the greatest juniors match I've ever seen, and then they probably best it without doing a single flip in the match. It's like we're talking, like, for me, they're Hall of Famers. Like, it's no brain. I ain't got to really go into the analytics or breakdown of drawing power or whatever. It's like, if especially both of them, because they were both very popular at the top of the promotion for a while. They both were champions, whether it's white belt or the black belt or the new belt. And, like, they won G1s. Like, yeah. And then they had some of the greatest matches in the history of the business. So, yeah, like, for me, they're Hall of Famers. So, I'm happy for both of them.
Yeah, man. So I, like, over the years, I go on back and forth on Naito, and, as you mentioned, some of the stuff with the injuries and the effort level and the, just weird stuff happening around his push that just through no control of his own. Like, when you got to go out there with evil, that sucks. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Or, hey, we're setting you up to win at the end of Wrestle Kingdom. So what we're going to do, we're going to have you lose your way out of the G1, and someone will just help. Someone will just backdoor you in to get you in anyway when you don't deserve it at all. Like, yeah, that's definitely not helping.
It annoyed me with some of that stuff, but this guy's a great wrestler. Like he's a genius, some would say, a Stardust genius. But yeah, I was happy for John from Omikaze. That's his guy. So I was like, on behalf of the Omega Army, welcome Tetsuya Naito to the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame.
So, like, and the thing also about it is, like, this year, and, like, because I know you didn't watch much of the G1 this year. Like, he wrestled so spiritedly that, like, I thought he was winning the G1. Like, he was great in G1 this year, and, like, that match he had with Ospreay is, like, one of the best matches I've seen this year. Like, I've only given I don't even know how many matches 5 stars this year. This is one of them. Like, I thought that he was, I mean, we talked about it after it happened, like how impressed both of us were with, like, it, you know, like it's almost like he flipped the switch back to 2017. So yeah, like that run he had this year seems rejuvenated. Also the match he had earlier in the year with Okada, like, not earlier in the year, because he also had the match in October, but yeah, like he, or was that with Ospreay? That's with Ospreay, never mind. But yeah, like, just the Ospreay and the Okada stuff in the G1 this year, like, it's like, reminds you, like, nah, man, this is all-time wrestler, regardless of whatever and however weird it is, and, like, right now he has no path to Wrestle Kingdom, which is weird, but, like, this dude had a great year this year, and reminds you, like, all the other great years he's also had, so, like, yeah, for me, it's like, you know, he's, you know, I feel like it's fitting that he got in this year. And this might be his last great year because, you know, his body is so, you know, banged up and everything.
As far as Ibushi, like I love Kota Ibushi. The first time I ever saw him wrestle, which was Wrestle Kingdom 9, and they were like, he was a junior heavyweight that's like going up to heavyweight. He was I was like, I've never heard this guy, and this guy's like the best high flyer I've ever seen. And then like at that time I know like about Ricochet and shit like that, and I'm like, oh, he wrestled Ricochet. And then I watched a match they did in 2014, and it was just like, I just followed Kota Ibushi from there throughout his stuff when he came to WWE for a little bit with the Cruiserweight Classic stuff. He kind of did like a tour through the Indies. I was fortunate to see him live a couple times. Won't ever forget seeing the Golden Triangle in person. Just seeing the Golden Triangle was just like, I don't like, this guy's somewhere else, man. And whatever style, like, you know, one thing I can kind of credit Kota Ibushi for is probably being like the most versatile wrestler that there was probably in that, you know, in that class of New Japan guys. Like any style, any match against Ibushi you want to fly, you want to fight, you want to work, you want to have like a sprint, like you want to go 35. Like Ibushi's your guy.
Hyper violent sprint with like Ishii,
yeah, man. And it was just like, you know, I was fortunate, I'm glad, like, him and Kenny got to be, like, you know, their career tag team. Like, that's just awesome. So, like, you know, of course this nigga's a Hall of Famer. Like, it's just not even, like, why did it take so long to get him in? Like,
I think a lot of people wanted to see what he was going to do as a, like, full-time performer in New Japan as,
I think people punted, like, because they realized he was never going to, like, get the run he got at the top of New Japan happened in front of no fans. There was goofy shit that happened, like with the new belt, and obviously he's probably not going back to New Japan anymore. Yeah. So might as well vote him in now. So that's what I think people did.
Yeah.
Taue and Kawada, I mean, Holy Demon Army. You know, I'm still doing my journey through All Japan in the 90s, but both of these guys are fucking great. I can tell you that. These guys have a laundry list of some of the best matches of all time as a tag team. Yeah, Brewhaven, I'm with you for sure. That would be dope. But also Mystico, you know, he, you know, in the U.S. is kind of known for, you know, watching out in WWE. But bro, you think about the WWE environment he showed up to, it was probably the worst environment for someone like him to show up. This is a guy that has been a really big star for a long time, right? Walks in there, he's short, he doesn't speak the language, they don't have anybody that wrestles his style, really. They have maybe one or two guys like Epico or Chavo Guerrero Jr., Primo, something like that. And you know, he has an inflated sense of self. They don't like that. And from there, and you know, it all got wrong. Like, you know, it all got fucked up. Like he was essentially a punchline and a joke, but he was a really big star in Mexico, and I'm glad to see him get his due in his region for, you know, what he contributed.
Yeah, same. I've only seen one of his matches in Mexico, and like totally different guy from what we saw in WWE, unfortunately. But I respect it. Like, I think, didn't he win Flair Fez?
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah. He won Flair Fez out of Mexico.
Like, and that shit's never been done.
What kind of confluences of circumstances will have to happen for that to happen again, ever?
I feel like
Let's do this, right? Let's pretend the next 5 years.
The 5 best guys in AEW, New Japan, and WWE will all have to get injured to start.
And start
at this point now.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing, and I've been saying this since 2019 when we went to WrestleCon show.
And also, it's not all 5 in January they get injured. It's like they have to topple like month by month throughout the calendar, so it just fucks their promotion. They're constantly scrambling. That's what would have to happen.
So, I remember when we went to New York for the WrestleCon Super Show. I believe Cabanero was there, and he was doing, speaking of that, right? We were always talking about, like, Meltzer used to talk about, like, he's doing all this shit. He's doing these floor dives or whatever else. He's doing top rope to floor dives, and his knees are going to be shot and everything, and how long can he last doing it? And then you see it in person, you're like, yo, this cannot sustain. When's the last time you heard from Cabanero? But anyway, like, watching those matches, like Flamita was there and everything, and a bunch of different luchadors were there, and it made me think, like, we have this as American hardcore pro wrestling fans, we have this huge admiration and respect for luchadors and also Japanese wrestlers. But, like, as far as, like, people knowing the wrestlers and seeing all the matches, obviously this has something to do with the disorganization of in lack of seriousness of some of the promotions in Mexico. But, like, you would figure that, like, they are in an adjacent country as opposed to on the other side of the world. And you figure, like, that distance would be, would make it more hospitable to, seeing, Bandito on AEW television in 2019 or 20 as opposed to 22, right? And obviously there's something to do with the Ring of Honor situation and all that. I'm not going to say like that it didn't have something to do with it, but you get my point. So, like, thinking like, what are the, getting back to the point, like, the part where he wins Flair Thesz in 2016 compared to if he were to do it now is like, yo,
2006. I don't know if it's more. I don't know if it's more difficult then or now. Like, because like, like now we have all the access, and then people just choose not to use it now. Then it was like they had even less access, but somehow it worked.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see but either way, like, I'm just trying to say, like, think of like the distance we have now, and like people only watch, like, the most wrestling fans and hardcore wrestling fans, like, might check in for one of the 3 Triple Manias this year, like, and that's it. So, like, I keep hearing that, like, CMLL has gotten their shit together for the most part, especially compared to AAA, and like I haven't heard anybody really talk about AAA except for saying that Lance Jr. is, like, balling now. So, like, yeah, I just think that, like, it's crazy that he was able to do that, and that, like. So, from a historical standpoint, like, in my mind is like, yeah, like, I'm kind of the belief that, like, if you win a sport, major sports MVP, like, you need a great reason for, like, not eventually making the Hall of Fame, like an injury or some type of, like, marvelous, spectacular flame out or something along that. Because outside of that, like, you're part of history. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess you could argue that was WWE, but it's like, that's WWE. They fuck up anything.
Sergeant Slaughter just misses it, 57%. So, I don't know if he's going over to historical. He may be going over with,
JYD.
JYD, yeah. Steiner's got a big jump. I would assume that's due to Braun Breaker being around, from 40 to 52%.
Did you see the split on their voting?
I did not.
Amongst, obviously historians, active wrestlers, former wrestlers, and columnist writers or whatever else. Like,
I'm sure I could pull it up. I don't have it listed in front of me at this second. Look,
they are not completely but like, they're overwhelmingly, like, modern wrestlers are, like, voting them in. Which, I mean, I'm not saying that's good or bad, but it's like there is a huge level of respect or influence from the Steiners that should be noted amongst, like, the current crop of wrestlers we have now, and I think that's cool.
Paul Orndorff at 50% had a 15% jump. So good for him. As I mentioned, CM Punk, I think we got to talk about this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He went up 8%. So he did. So despite all the complaints and the crying that, I think people were like, this was an affront to the institution. CM Punk, may I remind people, CM Punk didn't get in for a half a decade before this. So
Yep.
I think people should be encouraged by the 8% jump. And if you feel like he's, a Hall of Famer that strongly, you wouldn't be worried about the fact he didn't get in yet. I saw, of course, insane conspiracy theories that, tie back to Dave Meltzer personally doing favors for the elite to keep CM Punk out of the Hall of Fame. Y'all gotta stop this. Y'all gotta stop this, man.
We don't like him. Don't vote him in. How many people in the Observer Hall of Fame do you think he doesn't like? Are they going to take out Jim Cornette? No? Okay, what are we talking about?
Look, here's also something to consider. Maybe CM Punk should be more liked by his fellow wrestlers. Maybe he could get stronger voting there. So, I would have voted for the guy this year had I had a vote. So I pissed someone off real good on Twitter, mentioning that half a decade thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, yo, bro, like it wasn't his time.
He heard his cause. Like had he his foot not gone down, broke out down on him or whatever else, had he not had a situation where like he doesn't wrestle for the last half of the year, like he was as strong as anybody on television when he was in AEW. So like, yeah, like this was definitely like leading towards him. Like if he had gotten a year, a full 18 months, a full 2 years, like, yeah, like he would have got in. It was inevitable, but like obviously the injuries and the whole thing fucked it all up.
I'm glad Brewham brought this up. So he said Benoit being in is BS though. So they did a recall vote in 2007. I think it's a different voter group now. Dave said there will be no double jeopardy shit because he takes it directly from the Baseball Hall of Fame. The recall vote is going to stand. I feel like people that logged in with the Benoit stuff, I felt like they hit the red button. The CM Punk thing hurt them deeply, and they know why. And they got to live with it.
I don't know exactly what one has to do with the other. Like, two things are true. Benoit is one of the greatest pro wrestlers I've ever seen in my life, and he is a murderer. Is this a murder? Is this a non-murder Hall of Fame?
Yeah, man. I like.
If you want,
I feel like it's settled.
And maybe I'm being too absolutist about this. Like, I believe in certain institutions, Hall of Fame, they actually exist and aren't just like on paper. Like, yeah, I believe that you could if this were a pro sports Hall of Fame, whatever else, if you wanted to take O.J. Simpson out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I wouldn't necessarily have I wouldn't necessarily fight against that because he murdered somebody or murdered two people, much like Benoit murdered 2 or 3 people, including himself. So like, yeah, I think there's room for discussion on that, but like, I'm not going to then because he did something heinous after in the middle of his career that he wasn't already a Hall of Fame level wrestler that was deserving of getting in based off the level of his work. If you want to say fuck him and he's a terrible person, yeah, he is. Not disagreeing with you on that.
Not gonna argue with you.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with that. There's those two separate things. So like, on the strength of, but arguing that is separate from the strength of whatever is going on with CM Punk. So like, bringing it up is like just some whataboutism. It's like, can we get focused on on like what's important, which is CM Punk? If you want to go over and talk about Chris Benoit, like we can both go watch that that Dark Side of the Ring podcast or not podcast show and like just feel terrible and cry about it because like that shit broke me down multiple times. So yeah, hey, like I'm not doing that. But as far as CM Punk,
look, man,
there's no way around it. He cost himself this year.
If they want CM Punk to get in the Hall of Fame, get out there and advocate. Write a blog, make a video, write a letter, send it to Dave, start a movement, do what I did with JYD. Hit the ground, stop crying like your master in public. Come on, man. Ted Turner, 41%, JYD, 38%.
And also another thing about it is like, is it a thing? Why was this year so important as opposed to like, the next potential 20 years before he goes into historical. Is it 20 years after you retire?
Yeah, or it's 30 years.
30
It's 30 years.
Yeah, like he has decades.
Like he'll be in. He'll be in.
He's someone that's definitely going to get in.
Like
I don't know why people act like this is the end of the world. Like I don't know. Maybe people just don't know how this stuff goes.
They don't know how it works, and they don't want to know how it works.
That's probably just an outrage machine. Probably, yeah.
Ishii frozen at 38%. As I mentioned, that's gonna change next year with Ibushi and Naito getting out the way. Edge frozen at 33%,
which is surprising. I thought he's gonna go down.
He went up 1% here, so
yeah,
he's gonna have to keep going. Orton from 27 to 32%, and he has a Shawn Michaels back, so I don't know what that's going to hold for his future. But Edge and Orton are parallel candidates. I think that will be linked for a long time. Tony Schiavone jumps from 26 to 32. I think Schiavone's gonna keep slowly building momentum here.
Obviously I'm biased, right? Because I grew up on Schiavone. I don't really know how to do the Hall of Fame announcer thing or whatever else. But I've always enjoyed his work. And outside of when he'll go over, he was doing over top stuff about this. This particular week is the greatest potential week in the history of pro wrestling that he used to do, whatever else. Outside of that type of hyperbole, I've always thought he was a good ass announcer. So like as far as what I give a vote out to him, I think I probably would spread it around elsewhere. But like to me, like he's been a positive influence on my pro wrestling experience.
Yeah, same. Roman Reigns famously was off the ballot, got 31%, only 31%, I might add, for the needle mover. It's a big
jump from going from less than 10 to getting put back on ballot. Now you're in the 30s.
I feel like it should be higher if it was the greatest WWE storyline that's happening, and the needle mover and all this other stuff, that people don't want to talk about as drawing the lesser of the two nights of WrestleMania, or only adding 300 extra seats in Madison Square Garden. Like these things that all happened in their last calendar year. He did headline some big shows like SummerSlam and Clash of the Castle, different stuff. The thing is with Roman, that's going to hurt every WWE candidate is
they're in WWE.
You're in WWE. There's no way to quantify what you're doing. We might as well argue to put Nick Khan on, if you're going to argue for Roman Reigns, and there's just no, it's not whatever way that we come up with to evaluate these modern WWE candidates has not been invented yet.
We're going to have to eventually, because it's going to be, there's no way that. And this is what part of what makes people lose their minds about the Observer Hall of Fame is there's no way that we're going to have basically an entire generation of WWE wrestlers be partake in the most successful money drawing period of the company's history, and not a single soul gets in. It just I know why it's going to happen, but to a fan that is a WWE fan, or this is how they're starting into more pro wrestling around the world, they're going to see Observer List and be like, what? The only person that made it was John Cena. That's going to be very weird. That's and then you have to break that down, and explain to them, and be like, well, and then their minds are going to flip in their brain, or their brains are going to flip.
We already know where it's going to head.
So I think so. There definitely at some point is going to have to be some meaning in the minds of, look, man, some of these dudes, some of these people are going to have to get in.
Cena went in Meltzer, a lot of time.
Meltzer mentioned this when in regards to Becky Lynch's voting number or whatever else. It's okay, so she won. Yeah. She won female MVP 2 years out of the 4 years they've done it, and she's 17% or something like that. That's weird.
20.
Okay. Yeah, basically the same percent as Rossi Ogawa, who's on the other side of the fucking world. That's weird. We're going to have to come up with something. We're going to have to figure this out. Because it's going to be weird. It's going to be really weird and awkward to try to explain this to people.
Because like whatever way is going to happen or whatever way we evaluate them, it has not been invented and is not going to be invented for a while. I feel like because
I agree on that.
Because like those TV deals are so like all encompassing. It's like, how do you really credit this one person instead of another? Like, and it's not even just how do you credit this one person. It's, you know, how do we tell Roman Reigns from Randy Orton? Like at this rate, like you can't. Like,
I mean, we can tell Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch from Charlotte Flair. But those are the small cases, right? Those are the small cases. You're talking about the macro. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, like
I get busy. Yeah,
like I feel like we've always been able to like extrapolate small things for Sasha that we haven't for different people. Like because we can, yeah. So let's keep going. Matt and Jeff Hardy jumped to 30%. Yeah, I don't know.
Who did what?
Matt and Jeff Hardy jumped from 24 to 30%.
Okay,
so they're going to be stuck for a while. It seems.
Are you surprised that they're that low?
No, I think they're kind of right where I think they're at.
How much do you think? Okay, obviously it's hard to quantify this because their obstacles would be on a whole other like tier if like Jeff wasn't a fuck up, but if Jeff hadn't had 2 DUIs in the last 10 months, something like that, I feel like obviously they're a legendary like tag team. I feel like most people that have watched pro wrestling in America in our lifetimes will feel the same way. So I'm surprised by that number, but then again, I shouldn't be because Jeff's a fuck up. I'm trying to figure out if I can get, like, what percentage do you think this was hurt by Jeff? Like, where should they be? Like, should they really be in like the 50s? Should they really be in like the high 40s? Where do you think they really should be?
Man, they might be where they at because Jeff is a fuck up. Like, in like
here
in
you
a
go.
positive way.
Here you go. The fans love him because he's a fuck up. Here we go. I was trying to ask you a real question. Now you going to the jokes. Never mind, man. Let's just move on. I can't never ask you nothing serious about Jeff Hardy ever. Never. Damn it, man.
Live in a moment. Shingo only 21% for Shingo. I was kind of disappointed on that.
He's hurt a lot by the start of his career, or the beginning of his career, or most of his career. Like being a Dragon Gate USA guy, indie guy over here in America, like it hurts him. Like, but look, would he come in 2018, late 2018?
He was essentially Kenny Omega's like replacement. Like as far as somebody rolling in immediately, push high with that match quality. Like he exited the promotion, Shingo came in.
Yeah, like I mean. I love the dude. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. And I've only, he's only been, around. I've only been watching him since like Wrestle Kingdom 13, and I've just been very impressed with him ever since. And like, even the stuff he's doing with fucking King of Pro Wrestling, like that's how good the dude is. Like they're giving him lemons. He's making lemonade at this point. Like the dude's great. Like for me, he's a Hall of Famer. I obviously did not see the beginning of his Dragon Gate stuff, but like from what I've seen enough to be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
like,
probably raw there too.
Yeah, like like obviously you have like the we talk about like sports careers, whatever else. It's like, nah, man, I did not need to see Randy Moss's Patriots run to make me think to wonder if he's a Hall of Famer. I saw the 90 touchdowns in the first 7 years with the Vikings. I'm good. I seen all I need to see. Like I saw the 317 touchdown seasons. Like if he gave us more to solidify it, but like. Sorry, I know what a Hall of Famer is just by looking at it for the most part with me. And like, I've seen that dude for now almost 5 years now. And like, for me, that's a Hall of Famer. So if he gets in, I don't know. I think it's, he has a lot working against him. Obviously in much the same way as Shingo, but like, I'm sorry, that dude is one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life.
Rossi Ogawa at 21%.
Yeah.
First year on the ballot.
Yeah. Over the years, if it keeps going the way it's going to go. It's going to go up every single year. I will say that the people that were voting that I saw a couple of them, two, actually, exactly two. People that I saw that said like they're not voting for Rossi, but they are voting for Takagi, for the DDT booker. What? Okay. I would like for someone to explain that to me, but like from the people that I've asked around on, like what you think of it as being initially absurd is like when you write it out on paper, it's probably even worse. So yeah, I'm misfired on that one, but yeah, for starting where he started, I don't know I didn't know what I would expect initially, but like 21. We'll see where he goes. He's someone that's a vote for me, given what I know about his history. But like most people don't know, and I think that's the thing that's gonna come to the forefront when it comes.
He's gonna have to have more people drawing out his. He's gonna need more vocal advocates, I think.
Yeah, and obviously you had like Alex from Last Word, and also JD like make that column for Voice of Wrestling, and like, is there, man, like if you're going to put, obviously you have the Matsunaga brothers, that the four brothers that funded and ran New Japan or whatever, or not New Japan, All Japan Women's from the beginning until its closure. But like outside of that, like there, as far as male figures, I know people like talk about Triple H as far as like a male figure of pro wrestling, whatever else. Like outside of the Matsunaga brothers is Rossi and no one else. And like if you look at the two most popular women's promotions in the world's existence. He's had hands in both of them at a high level. Either he was the booker for one of them, and he's the booker for the other one. So yeah, or for a long stretch of time of unparalleled success for both. So like yeah, he'll get there eventually. I think he'll get there eventually, especially if Stardom continues to grow at the pace that it's been growing. Obviously, at some point there is a line on the spike in growth or whatever else. But like when they said they had a plan they exceeded like speaking of Kadani we talked about earlier, like last year when he talked about like they reached our 5-year plan at the end of this year. In 2 years, like where do you think it's gonna go on? Like in all the talk of like they want to run a dome show. We'll see how this goes. If they run a fucking successful dome show, he's a fucking Hall of Famer. I think he's Hall of Famer now, but like it's undisputed at this point. Like there's only been 2 women's dome shows ever, I believe, or man, one.
Gotta pull out Big Egg Universe.
Yeah,
the new Big Egg Universe.
The new Big Egg Universe, except it's just Stardom. It's not like we're gonna bring in LOW, we're gonna bring in LOWP and other places.
Oh man, you bringing in Tokyo Joshi Pro? What you mean?
You saw the reporting. Does that sound like they're going to work together anytime soon?
Seems Nova said, how much do y'all think the Rossi is a pervert meme is hurting his Hall of Fame chances? I don't think that's hurting it at all, personally.
I think it hurts to a slight extent. But then again, the other end, this man's in. So what are we saying?
Got Bill Goldberg, 20%, 2% bump. I think Goldberg's stuck, and he's going to hang out at the bottom of the ballot.
I have similar feelings. I don't know how to feel about someone voting for him or not, but like, I don't know. You'd vote for him though, right?
I would vote for Bill Goldberg. Yes.
I mean, look, he has the drawing aspect down. Like, it's a 50-50 thing between like, what you do on screen and what you do financially. Then yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And Becky Lynch, 20%. Now, I know people may see that 20% and be like, well, damn. However, consider this. The people that are her contemporaries, Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, Jon Moxley, each one of those people fell off the ballot the first time they got on. Becky Lynch did not. That's something to look. That's something to consider, and I think that says a whole lot without actually saying it. Now, can she go up from here? I don't know, man.
Is Seth ever going on the ballot?
Seth, I think, goes on for the first time next year. Or actually, he may have fallen off already.
I feel like he fell off.
Yeah, he may have fallen off, but if one of you guys can check that for me, I'd appreciate it. But as far as Becky, she, her time at the very, at her hottest point was not all that long. I think it was like a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have to break. She's going to have to stick around and like kind of have an unprecedented career for a woman in WWE. Like she's going to have to stick around until she's like in her 40s, I think, and consistently like put together like more years, because it seems like her wrestling's only getting better at this point. So, if she wants to thug it out, I think she has a path towards getting there. If she dropped dead tomorrow, I don't think she would end up getting in.
I'm with you on that. I think that the way that she is plugging along, that like she has set herself a path to actually get there. If she puts in the work, she's managed to stay, like on these shows. She's managed to stay on these shows. I think that she has a path in a way that like only like 3 or 4 people actually have that are in WWE right now, it seems. So yeah, I'm with you. I think, it's an interesting case. Has anyone like done the, like, I know last year, after the year she had, Meltzer speculated on like, what about Utami as far as like taking like a futures bet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were doing, like the John Morant thing, but like, you think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer? Like he's like, I bet on it. Like he tears ACL tomorrow and it all comes crashing down, right? Yeah. But I bet on it. It's fucking awesome. At a young age. He did that with Utami. And my thing is like, I want to see what people's opinions are on the futures for Bianca, because Bianca has it, but her age is like very limiting as far as like how long she's going to be able to. You would think she'd be able to do this in WWE. So I think that'd be interesting to try to figure it out. I wonder if someone could ask Meltzer what he thinks about that, because like obviously like you just look at it as far as just when you take away the age, you're like, that's their best bet. From Oz perspective is Bianca, but Bianca's what, 32, something like that? 30.
She's my exact age. She's 33.
32.
We're
33.
We're born. We're born
Yeah.
the same day.
Yeah. So a blessed day. It'd be interesting to see what the thoughts are on trying to handicap that thing, because like it's really interesting. Because like she has it. It's just the length of how long she's gonna be with us, and if she wants to continue doing wrestling. Because she might want to start doing bodybuilding games. She just showed up to a fucking event and
just rolled out of bed. You know Triple H's love for that. Oh yeah, bodybuilding. Well, I got do this. Make sure you're training like this. Something like that.
What do you? Oh. I don't remember Triple H's voice ever being that breathy, but okay. You turned into a pervert.
Hey man, I gotta say, there's somebody on the end of this ballot. When I just want to know when the charade is gonna end. Oh, why do the voters keep doing this? Why?
Oh, I know who you're gonna say.
Stratus have 11% and we all refuse to let her fall off the ballot. Stop it. Stop it. I don't know what y'all are thinking. There is no case. Sorry. No. Like, barking like a dog, I don't consider that historically significant. Being a nice little mid-carder during the Attitude Era, I don't consider that a Hall of Fame draw. I don't consider this a Hall of Fame worker. What are we doing here? Stop this. Y'all tried this with the Bella Twins, and they fell off.
Wait, what?
They tried this with the Bella Twins a couple of weeks ago. Or not weeks ago. Like last year or something like that. They had put like Nikki Bella on the ballot or something, and it didn't work. Right?
Did she get over 5%?
She got immediately dropped.
No, but did she even get 5%?
No idea.
Okay.
But Trish Stratus, I'm sorry. You main evented Raw one time. Stop this. There is this is not a serious candidate.
Wait, are you talking to Trish or are you talking to the people that voted for her? Trish ain't doing nothing wrong.
Both of them.
What did Trish do? Exist?
Trish should have turned down the booking.
What?
So people wouldn't know because if Trish turned it down, people wouldn't be able to lie and say and come out here and use that as justification that she could get voted in the Hall of Fame. Fuck that.
So
ridiculous.
Say, hey Vince, Hey, Vince, stop that shit, bro. In 15 years, if in the
take me off the show. You know, shit.
What?
Sorry, Trish. But I feel like we gotta be like 11%. They like, it's like they see her on life support, James. Like, they will not pull the plug. They letting this woman just sit there in purgatory. This is embarrassing.
How long has
almost.
she been like staving off being left off? How long has it been happening with her?
I want to say she's been on the ballot for at least like 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so the thing that's weird for me is so at this point, you know she's never getting in.
Yes.
So, like, why don't you move your points towards... Obviously, I don't really enjoy when people do the gaming system thing, but everyone does it. So, like, how come no one's figured it out? They're like, hey, this ain't never happened for her. Let's move these points towards fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Because
it never happens.
Because think of it this way, right? When there's a glut of people that are in the 30s and 40s, whatever else, they're all stealing votes from each other. The faster you get someone up before more people come in and even crowd the field even more, the better your chances for getting someone in the long run as opposed to, no, they got to get in now. Right?
Yeah.
And obviously this is a gamification of the battle or whatever else, and that it goes against what you should do. You should pick the best candidates or whatever else. But like, if you are voting for Trish Stratus, you ain't playing that best candidate game anyway.
Yeah, man. I don't understand this.
No, not Trish. I love Trish, but nah.
Y'all gotta let this go. No. Like, I refuse. When I'm thinking about Aja Kong, I'm not thinking about Trish Stratus.
She's already in.
I'm thinking about Manami Toyota. I'm not thinking about Trish Stratus. In. I know.
Okay.
These are the people we should be comparing her to. The people that are in.
Well, the difference between like in and like people that are like, some of the highest rated people to ever get in. I think Manami Toyota is like in the top, is like one of the highest votes to ever get in. But whatever, do what you want to do. Jokes.
Going on the ballot next year: Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins, the Young Bucks, and the Beauty Pair.
Interested to see where the Beauty Pair lands. Young Bucks are getting in. People just have to deal with it. I'm telling you now.
I hope. I hope they don't try no funny business with these boys. These are first ballot Hall of Famers, and y'all better don't even fuck with it.
Okay, how many times they won Observer Tag Team of the Year? Over 5 times, right?
I think they've won it 7 in a row.
Okay.
Before checking how many overall times they've ever won it.
Okay. If you have won 7 MVPs in your particular field, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? Like when JJ Watt won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards in a row, he could have dropped dead right then and been a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer.
7-time winners, the chat is saying.
Okay,
they helped start AEW.
Once you get to 5, once you get to 4 or 5, we're done here, right? So like they overkilled it. So good for them. The first ballot Hall of Famers. So.
It's like, bro, it's like they have all 3 categories in spades. They have the drawing, they have the historical significance, and they damn sure have the matches. So
yeah. There's nothing to discuss. Really,
all in.
Right.
Then who else we got? Seth Rollins and Jon Moxley. Careers that have gone like this.
Does Jon Moxley double Seth?
I think
Jon
Moxley he'll get in the 30s. I think if Roman got in 31%, right, and this man has been pushed harder than Jesus Christ.
Yeah, who has more quality matches and feuds?
That's what I'm saying. Man, Moxley has the work in multiple promotions. He's got the matches. He's got the positive kind of momentum behind him. And also the part where like he's going to win Flair Thez like two out of the last 4 years. So if he doesn't go in, like I don't think I think Mystico cleared it up. He was the only person.
Am I being presumptive saying that Moxley's going to win Flair Thez this year?
I think it's either him or Jericho. I feel like Moxley's got the lead.
Okay.
But Jericho was campaigning hard. So it's gonna be close. But I think Moxley's gonna win. I think as far as Seth Rollins, man, I think after 2019, like I checked out of Seth Rollins completely.
And,
like,
we will both admit he's still great.
He'll give you something.
I mean, how many 4.25 star matches has he had this year on big shows? Like, it's almost every single pay-per-view. When you think about it, the Cody stuff,
matches. I didn't like the cage match, but I liked the first match he did with Riddle.
Okay, and then the match he just had the 3-way thing with what's called it. I think you gave that 4.25.
Yep.
Yeah, like he's had a slew of successful matches. Like the thing is, like he's just shot, and he's he's just shot. He's just shot. Like to see, like I would be shocked if he ends up with a higher number than Roman at this point. Come next year, and Roman's in the low 30s. So there's someone that I think is going to make it, and there's someone else that I think is going to finish in the low 30s. That's what I'm asking. Like, is he going to double them up?
Man,
it's going to be close.
I feel like Rollins is staring down a 15%. And Mox is probably looking at.
You think he'll do worse than
like
Becky?
Yes, because I feel like Becky has goodwill that Seth doesn't necessarily.
That's true,
and she was allowed to actually get to the top pinnacle position.
That's
where
true.
Rollins absolutely flopped. No matter how much anyone wants to spin it or anything like that.
Well, I mean, the Fiend didn't help, but
yeah.
Fiend
like they wouldn't have never done no shit like that. They would have never done the Fiend or Roman Reigns.
You saw what you saw what Roman did to the Fiend. He speared him out of the main event,
out of the company.
Yeah, now it's Uncle Howdy or whatever.
Yeah. Rollins is like, I don't think, Moxley had that dog in him, and I don't know if Rollins does necessarily. He'll say all.
The JCPenney Mystery Sale is back for the holidays. Through Thursday, usher in huge holiday savings with our in-store coupon giveaway. You can get an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off while they last. Simply find an associate for a coupon, then peel to reveal your deal. Hurry in now to discover the savings you've been wishing for. We got your holiday. JCPenney. Coupon valid on select styles through 12/15. Exclusions apply. Giveaway in-store only. Must be 18 years or older. See store for details.
It's a season of giving back. That's why Kia is expanding our partnership with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and making a donation for every eligible new car purchase during the holidays through Kia's Accelerate the Good program. Kia, movement that inspires.
Kia will donate $8 for every new Kia vehicle that is purchased or leased at authorized Kia dealerships and delivered to retail customers between November 11th, 2022 and December 31st, 2022, with a guaranteed minimum donation of $1 million to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. See kia.com/season of giving back for details.
You're a holiday powerhouse. You host the dinners, shovel neighbors' sidewalks, and make everything from scratch. You definitely don't need help making the holidays happen. But Dunkin's Holiday Blend Coffee? A warming medium roast complete with sweet notes of dried fruit and molasses. Or a cranberry orange muffin made with real cranberries just might convince you a little help never hurt. Especially the hot caffeinated kind. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
All the things in interviews where he's talking about, I'm not content. I want to be number one and all that. But bro, I know those words. Like, these are words of a man that has accepted his lot in life. Much like Momo Watanabe. Like, he's accepted that he's he's always behind Roman Reigns. Like, it's just the way it is, bro. Like, sorry.
Look,
I know a lot of people that do not feel sorry for him.
Look, I know that Seth. I know you said Seth don't have that dog in him, but he does have some of that dog in him, and that dog in him is like that dumb loyalty. Like, he is loyal like a dog, and look, if he were someone to actually care about something like this, then he's gonna take it on the chin. But it doesn't seem like he really cares about that kind of stuff. And look, he still comes out there and has successful matches.
He does care about that shit because he wants to be known as the best.
No, I mean the observer Hall of Fame, not the best part. Because obviously he's had his back and forth with Dave over the years over different things where they're both wrong at different points, but whatever. So yeah, like for me, it's not gonna be like he'll stay on this time if he actually got left off, if he got dropped off the battle before, but like he'll stay on this time, but it low 30s, something like that. I imagine something like that.
Yeah. So we'll end the Observer Hall of Fame talk this year with that. But yeah, man, always a fun subject to kind of think about. Matt Riddle. Apparently, they did an angle last week with Solo Sikoa whooping his ass, kind of writing him out using the Umaga poke. They went ahead and carried him off in ambulance, and basically the storyline kind of wrote him out. Turns out that he failed some type of drug test, and mind you, WWE does not test for weed. They are saying he may be in some type of program for the next 6 weeks, which will allow him to come back on television after that. And he tested positive for something. And if you don't smoke weed, chances are you do something a little harder than that. I think if you guys look at the year that he's had and remember some of the shows he did not have a match on, David Bixenspan's digging all into this, by the way. He's opening it all up, busting it open, if you will. And Riddle's had a lot of news in and out of the ring, with the women in his life and, the internet and the allegations and now the drug stuff. He was not on SummerSlam for a reason. That is all I'll say. And this thing is like the way they wrote about this test is that he failed another drug test. So put 2 and 2 together. This is a multiple time offender, it sounds like. Matt Riddle, he could have had it all, James. He could have had it all.
Well, gotta keep in mind, how did he end up turning into a pro wrestler instead of continuing UFC? He was failing drug tests then.
The weed.
Yeah, so he's a fuck up. Like, not saying anything about like whatever or making a morality play on whatever he's doing, but like, you get drug tested. You keep coming up negative. This is at least your fourth failed drug test in mixed martial arts or pro wrestling. So clearly, like you don't get with the program that like you can't be doing this at certain times. So it's unfortunate. But
this is a wild boy.
Yeah, and this is, and you think about it, like, this is low stakes on the things he's been. If you want to, get into Riddle being a bad guy. This is low stakes compared to some of the other stuff that's out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll move on. Ring of Honor pay-per-view. This show was in Austin or Arlington, Texas. Crowd was lit. They were up for this. I saw everything except the last 2 matches, James, but I guess we can go through it. Started with AR Fox and Blake Christian taking on LFI. Debut of Dralistico, which is Bruce's other brother. Man, that's a talented family.
Yeah.
So AR Fox and Blake Christian ended up getting the win. We had the birth of Durag AR Fox in ROH here. There was something that went on kind of goofy with the finish. It's like Dralistico may have
a 450 splash happens.
Something happens.
A 450 splash happens, and Dralistico gets a shoulder up at 2, and then the ref just counts 3. And I'm watching. I'm like, fuck. And then Dralistico and Roosh get up and immediately beat AR Fox and Blake Christian's ass with chairs. And I at first thought, like, okay, the way to argue with the ref like that wasn't necessarily the finish. And then Meltzer talks about the history of Roosh and other stars in Mexico fucking finishes to do the whole, I did a job, I didn't really do a job, or blah, 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 and I can get away with it because, you know, whatever else. And I'm like, at the same time, understanding that this happens, also being like, the way they argue with that ref, it did not come off that way. And then also, like, the part where they beat their ass with chairs would be like, if there was a fluke win, like, a roll-up or whatever else and got out of there. But, like, he beat him with a 450 splash. So, so, like, from one perspective, it could be like, okay, they went into business for themselves, and then they've laid out these dudes or whatever else, and that's bullshit. And then there's also the other part where, like, that wasn't actually the finish, and, like, they're trying to get their heat back because they weren't supposed to fucking lose, and they pulled it on the spot. I don't know. Well, I'm willing to wait and see on this one. I'm willing to wait and see on this one.
Not sure. These gentlemen did not look pleased when they walked away.
They were pissed. And that's before they did the whole, you know, thing with the chairs on Blake Christian and AR Fox.
And they knocked the fuck out of them. And then, like, AR Fox was just, like, sitting there.
Yeah, AR Fox definitely. Like, the one, the chair shot that happened with, I believe it was Drew Lisco and Blake Christian, that was off camera. But, like, this match, it was fun. Tons of tons of dives. There was a spot where AR Fox does a dive to the floor, and he doesn't get caught. And like, it looked like he damn near landed on his neck. He gets right back up and does another dive, and then does like a not a 450, but like does another move, and it was hilarious. It was like, oh, I almost died. I'm good. Move. I was like, I can't wait to receive this. But yeah, it was sloppy, but it was fun for while it lasted.
Yeah, I was into it. ROH Women's World Title match. Yes, ROPW Soldier, AR Fox, indeed. ROH Women's World Title, Athena defeating Mercedes Martinez, and this was a hometown welcoming for Athena, who has gotten over in record time by whooping white women, as I suggested. And she, you know, ends up cheating, you know, cleverly, I might add, to get the win. You know, this is almost like another version of Moxley and MJF, hometown kind of person. Felt like Mercedes immediately kind of realized on the fly, I was like, all right, I'll just work as a heel, and then you know, come up under me. They were in there hitting.
Yep.
I was enjoying myself watching this.
Yeah, it started strong. It felt like it got soft as the match kept going. I don't know if it was an endurance thing or whatever, but it did lose steam. I couldn't exactly put my finger on exactly what it was, but got towards the finish. And as you mentioned, maybe they were tripped up by the reaction, even though they probably shouldn't, because it's a hometown wrestler wrestling in their hometown. And they haven't done anything strong to get you to actually, you know, do anything but cheer the hometown wrestler, even though she's a heel. So yeah, it was a little weird, but like when they started, I was enjoying the hell out of that. They was in there hitting. And it was fun. And it was physical throughout the whole entire match, but it just felt like it lost steam, you know, or whatever towards the end. And then they got to the finish, and the crowd, you know, was really into that title change, and they did it. And I should see what Athena does with it going forward. Obviously, in the pre-show, it was Willow versus Trish Adora. The match was fun. Like, Willow is super over. But like, you know, whenever they want to do it, like Athena versus Willow.
No, that's not on the agenda, man. Like we gotta keep that far away. You know, we gotta have Athena stick to the code.
Look, there's only but so many white women in AEW / Ring of Honor. Eventually, look, if she can go through all of them, that's fine. But eventually, I think the Ring of Honor crowd. Either way, whether it's Ring of Honor or the TBS title or the AEW Women's World title, like, I think that, like, Willow, given her reaction she gets, like, she should be groomed to a title program, one of the three. Whichever one, pick one, don't care, but, like, she has a natural, or taking to the crowd that, like, it's hard to find. So, I would make use of it soon.
got a tag team match. Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland taking on Shane Taylor Promotions. And that's JD Griffey and Shane Taylor. JD Griffey had made some appearances on Dark Elevation, worked with Keith Lee back in the earlier days. This match had a lot of backstory actually into it. Really good video package kind of explaining everything. And basically is almost like, you left me. And, JD and Shane were coming for their revenge. And I think this was a nice way to kind of get Shane Taylor in there, like to try to give him a look. And I think this match ended up kind of highlighting JD Griffey a lot. And I was into this. I think the crowd was like most up for this. Keith Lee is kind of a hometown guy. They're Arlington. I don't know how far that is from where he's from, but this environment was electric in this match.
So it's backstory when it's what you like. It's lore when it's what you don't like, huh? Okay, so anyway, this match was really fucking good. It was sloppy at times, and it was really only sloppy when JD Griffey was in, and I can't make sense of how good he is or is not, or just isn't on the level of the other three guys.
I think the other three are like way more experienced from what I gathered.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. But the story of the, malfunctions at the junctions, Swerve eventually leaving, them teasing the Shane Taylor Keith Lee confrontation, them, building it longer, them getting to it. The fucking Shane Taylor high cross off the middle rope that Keith Lee catches, and leading me to message y'all in all caps that Keith Lee is the strongest man in the world. This match was a blast, and I know Swerve in Our Glory is on the outs and has been on the outs for a while. Has been on Rocky Road for a while now, but they were a great fucking tag team for the time that we got them. And I don't know where they end up on the tag team PWI thing last week that we were talking about, but
I think it was too low.
I remember you said that when we couldn't find Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in the top 50, they're definitely deserving of the top 20 spot, obviously. And Swerve and Glory should have been as well. They were fucking awesome the time that we had them together. And it stinks that they're leaving the tag division, but I think that Swerve and Keith Lee can both do so much as singles.
I like how this was kind of like a mirror of the last match, where instead of Lee walking out, this time it was Swerve, but Keith was able to get the win,
right?
Where Swerve could not. And the meta part of this is they did enough to move the story forward while not blowing it off and doing the full angle completely on a smaller show, so they get to do whatever they're going to do in a bigger, with more eyes on it in AEW down the road.
But now the trigger needs to be pulled officially now, because they've been dragging this out ever since the last pay-per-view. It's over now. They need to officially part ways or beat the hell out of each other or attack each other, whatever. The trigger needs to be pulled the next time I see one of them two on TV.
Yeah. So after that, we got the World 6-Man titles. Embassy featuring Brian Cage dressed up as my man, what is his name? Canyon. And
that's what he was doing?
Yes, he was dressed up as Canyon, after my heart. Canyon prototype.
Moves, baby.
Original ROPW wrestler, Canyon.
Oh, man. What's the psychology? I do moves until someone gets pinned.
Yep. I do cool moves. I innovate offense.
Oh, man. When people talk about Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks being video game wrestlers, no, watch Canyon. That's a fucking video game wrestler.
Did you know Canyon was kind of like a mentor to the Young Bucks?
No.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm glad they decided to evolve the psychology. I'm glad they, because if they wrestle like Canyon, boy, you think they talk bad about them now. Whew.
Oh man. Embassy ended up getting the win over the boys. Dalton Castle This is all right. This wasn't, this wasn't bad. It was all right.
Dalton Castle to showcase that he, all the stuff with him and the boys, and then like Brian Cage would throw around the boys, and so would Khan and I forgot the other Islander's name. What's his name?
Toa Leona.
It's Leona. Yeah, it was just there to do, and like obviously to switch the belts, and Meltzer said that like Khan and Leo, they're not that experienced, so given their looks, I can see why they're getting shots. It's not like they're bad. It's just that this wasn't a match for that, and they also, I think the last paper they murdered Blake Christian and another two people. They beat their asses. Yes, and that was fun. I enjoyed it. So this was just this wasn't the match compared to the match they had at the last pay-per-view. But I'm interested to see what they do as a trios.
Black Saber Jr. says Dalton Castle may have a worse back than late career Larry Bird, but he's forever over.
I mean, they're both in the brace.
Yeah. After that, we got Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia for the Pure Championship. Wheeler Yuta getting the win this time. They had an angle jump off before this. They had Daddy Magic in the ring, cutting a promo. So you want to know what makes my nipples hard? I fucking screamed when he said that shit.
He said that before. It's always funny though,
bro. And they do some hijinks to get Top Flight brawling with them, and then to get Wheeler Yuta or Daniel Garcia or Wheeler Yuta out to the ring already. So from there, I think this was my third favorite match they had this year, or least favorite match they had. I like the one in Buffalo more. I like the one on the ROH show. And I think in Lowell, Massachusetts, better.
I'm with you.
But
I'm with you.
It was still really good. I think it was funny. Wheeler Yuta ended up using all them rope breaks. Like last time, it was such a focus of him not using the rope breaks, and as soon as Regal ain't around no more, that man can say, "All right, man, I can use the rope breaks if I need them now."
Yeah. So. There was some talk, I think, from Meltzer and Alvarez about should the ref call a rope break when Dan Garcia throws is whooping or has control of the match, is whooping Yuta's ass, throws Yuta into the ropes and then slaps on a submission. Should the ref count that? And I was like, yeah. What part of refereeing has to do with spirit of the rules? It's not outside of the second base bag. Everything else is literally the letter of the law. Yeah, his ass is in the ropes. Count it. Take away one of his things, and also that helps get heat for Garcia. So of course you should do that. What are you talking about? I would have liked a more competitive match with the rope breaks for the pre-rules thing, but they told a story of Yuta, or sorry, not Yuta, but Garcia blew a 3-0 lead. So yeah, I can watch them wrestle each other, anytime, going forward in the future. They're setting themselves up to be their, career rivals. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I'm with you. I think this was the least good of the three matches I've seen from them this year. But this was still a match I'd probably give 3.75, something like that.
ROH World Tag Team title match, double dog collars. The Briscoes packing up FTR for the ROH World Title match, or ROH World Titles. I probably need to rewatch this match because I was watching it while I was working today. Was looking at the laptop, looking back up. From what I saw, I liked a lot of it. It was very, very bloody brawl. A lot of walking, brawling. A lot of big falls on the stuff. Such as chairs or chain spots. I think I'm seeing match of the year stuff on this, and very high cage match ratings on this one. I think I like this better than the second one for sure.
Oh, it's way better than the second one. Better than the second one.
I don't think it's better than the first one.
Okay.
So, like I said, I'm willing to watch it again.
I think you gave the first one 5 stars, right?
I gave the first one 4 3/4.
Okay, so I've yet to see the first one. I have it on a hard drive. I'm going to get to it before the end of the year. That and a few other things I have just ready saved that I'm going to watch. the next couple weeks or whatever else. That I'm going to get to. I'm going to get to that. But you know, as we talked about the second match from a few months ago, like I thought that match was super long, but it was worth, generally over speaking, like for length and weight. It was still, I was never turned on it where it's like I want to turn this shit off. I want out. I want to pull the cord and get out of here. So I ended up giving that 4.5 stars. This match didn't go as long as that match, but this match was so much better than that match. A match that I gave 4.5, right? So I gave this 4 3/4. I never once contemplate giving it 5. I'm, you know, maybe it's just me thing, like I'm just over fucking blood. And I know like you go into that match, you're going to get blood. So I didn't hold that against them. But like I also didn't think like, oh my God, this is so great because they're bleeding. It was like, nah, this is a great match. This is appropriate to blood and obviously the third match and all that kind of stuff. And they did pull out big spots and everything. And I thought they made really, really good use of such a limiting thing, which is a dog collar match. I mean, this has to be the best dog collar match I've seen. I think the best one I've probably ever seen is, in my opinion, is probably like Cody versus Brody Lee. I think this way far passes that. But neither here nor there. Moving on, like I thought that like for limitations, because look, dog collar matches can stink for the same reasons that like strap matches can stink. Like you're stuck together, so it takes out so much stuff you can do. So now you're basically like fighting in a phone booth, and you have to use the whatever you're tethered together with to tell the story. And like once you do that with 2 people, it's just like, okay, you start thinking about how to do saves, how you're going to do, you know, X, Y, and Z from a tag formula. And it like the bar for the level of difficulty for them to make this work was very, 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 very high. This is about the most impressed I've been with an FTR match as far as like the level of difficulty and being able to pull it through since they've been in AEW, to be quite honest with you. Not that I think this is necessarily their best match in AEW or since AEW, since they showed up to AEW, but like the stakes that were against them and the pressure against them because they've had, this is their second match or this third match of this trilogy, having to be in them chains, having to be able to tell a long ass match, be able to have to do all the stuff they do and execute it. I was very impressed by them. And while I find, and this is the reason why, like, while we go in on them every other week for Dax being annoying as fuck or whatever else, this is why I've never write them off as wrestlers, because we're one of the best tag teams I've ever seen, but they're annoying at times, and I think they're just not as good as the best tag team I've ever seen. So it is what it is. And that's why I call it how I call it. But yeah, man, I think this is like the first full feud I've ever seen out of the Briscoes. And every time I've ever seen them, I've thought they were really good. But you know, this, I'm more impressed by them as opposed to thinking they were just great. Like, I see why people think like they're like one of the greatest tag teams of the generation talk that you hear about them. Like, I get it now, as opposed to just thinking like, oh, they're just great. Like, I get it now. And obviously Jay's better than Mark, but whatever. I'm going to beat the drum for a second for the Briscoes. It's time to get them in AEW. I just saw the message you sent me. Go to hell, Rich. It's time to get them in AEW. And I know they have, it's Turner that's holding this back for whatever reason. Well, it's because they're homophobes. Yeah, but they've done a lot of work to change that. Like, have they? I didn't know. Yeah, they've had a lot of people going to bat for them. They've had, they've done a lot of. What have they done though? Like, going to bat for them is one thing. Well, what have they done? Since you said they've done something, what have they done? No, they definitely apologize thoroughly. Okay. And it's like, yo, to keep them out of just forever, right? After apologizing, after, like, you know, people kind of saying like, these are not, you know, like, this is not what these people believe or anything like that. It's like, I don't know. I think it should be put to vote. At least it should be like a conversation should be had. Like, hey, is it a no forever? Is it something what needs to happen in order to break this? Because I think these guys need to get their due. Okay. Also. So my question is, given the spotlight that these Ring of Honor shows have given the Briscoes, and we assume that like there'll be another tag team for them to do this with, do you think they're actually hurting to be in AEW? Because also you also got to keep in mind that part where like they have the thing with like the farm and everything, and they make money, so they don't want to really be a full time team or full time wrestlers any damn way, or at least that was the case years ago.
I don't think they're hurt. I'm sure they're I'm sure they're doing all right.
Well, not hurt, but I mean like itching to get into AEW.
Couldn't hurt.
Okay.
And I definitely want to see them take on some of the other teams that are in AEW too. So like,
I mean, it would definitely help right now when like, all the, most of the juice as far as tag team wrestling is in the trios division right now. That would definitely be a huge shot in the arm for them right now while, everybody's in the trios and plus like Santana's still on the shelf. That definitely would help.
Yeah. But, like it was cool to see them, get the belts, 13-time champions of Ring of Honor now. So like, I don't necessarily need to see them like moved to AEW because like, I think there's a charm with having them as a signature act for ROH, and
that's what I was thinking too.
So like, there's some charm in that, and maybe the move is to have people go over there to try to beat the Briscoes. And, at the end of the day, they went 2-1 with FTR, but they got the belts at the end. So, that's I think that's cool to put on their resume. And as James mentioned, FTR is fucking annoying. Dax in particular, right? But they they come out here and they hit hard, and they like if I didn't know they had like a Twitter account that was annoying as fuck, and like
we would enjoy them so much more. We will all enjoy them so much more.
The cornet pandering, the just general like all the Bret Hart like heavy handedness is just like, bro, it's just exhausting as fuck. It's like, all right, man, like I remember like the revival, like, and why people liked them at first, because they kept all that shit in check pretty much for the most part, and then it just kind of became too much. But I like this match from what I'm gonna have to watch it again. But I was at 4.5 on my initial viewing. But I'm not a match of the year on this. No.
Yeah, I'm not match of the year either. But my
that chain when he was wrapping the chain around his head and he kept like fucking it up. And
so eventually he just has to hold it in front of his head. I was dying too when it happened on Watch It Live. Yeah. So so as far as match of the year, right? It's really hard for my sensibilities for pro wrestling. A match like that, while I think it's awesome, I'm never voting for that for match of the year. Like a bloodbath, brawl type of thing is not my steez for what I think is the best match of the year. Like I want like in-ring competition between like the best wrestlers in the world or best teams in the world. And then someone gets dropped and beaten in that way. And like this was a bloody brawl, and that doesn't, like, for my sensibilities, that's not as clean or as uniform or as rewatchable as watching either Okada Ospreay match this year. Well, I think it's
like it didn't have like the killer sequences that I would look for.
It's not like a thing where you just like, it's just this heated thing that you're watching, but you're not like on the edge of your seat like for the last 15 minutes of a match. It's not the same thing. And obviously there's different, and that's just for me, right? Like if this is on your thing, like I'm not going to knock you for it. I gave it 4 3/4. I think it's one of the first matches of the year. And I don't think I've even given 20 matches 4 3/4 this year. Like, so like I will put it on a short list, and I think that like for me, it would probably be like, for what I've seen in wrestling this year, it would be somewhere, it would end up on like the, outside the top 10 and somewhere on like an honorable mention type of thing. But,
Great rivalry for the year.
Yeah. But a great rivalry, and like this, I have to go back and watch that first one, but like I really enjoyed, but I'm definitely going to go back and watch because how much I enjoyed this third match. Huge success as far as the Briscoes and FTR.
Up next, we have Samoa Joe taking on Juice Robinson, ROH World Television Championship. I did not see this one, James.
Okay, so they had no shot. They had no shot after following that, but it was mostly Joe, beating him up, brawling, and that was fun. ultimately, but it was a short match. Ultimately, like Joe pretty much had the advantage. Juice and New Gear mounted a comeback and then like got caught on the top rope and then got caught in the muscle and got picked up in the muscle buster and dropped. Match is fine. Match may even be good, but like you look at that cage match and you think this thing was a stinker. It wasn't necessarily a stinker. It just was a match that had no shot because the crowd was exhausted because they just saw a bloodbath with crazy ass high spots.
Weekly Pro Wrestling drop, Kenny Omega on the cover, and I think there's an interview in there, so I imagine we'll get some hip-hop quotables in that.
Yeah, I imagine so. So then the main event, Ring of Honor World Championship, Chris Jericho the champion versus Claudio Castagnoli. This match was very good, and there were things in this match where like I don't think I've seen Jericho like move from a technical footwork perspective this well in a while. And like for example, early in the match, Cesaro tries to go for the big swing, and Jericho like does like the twist, like a twist out, connected still to Cesaro to get into walls of Jericho. Like it was, he was on his game technically at start. Then he's up in trouble. Out comes 2.0, whatever the names are now, to cheat. It didn't work. And then like at the end of the match, Cesaro gets the big swing. And he's going 1, 2, 3. Then you get to 10, 11, 12. Then you get to 20. Like, damn, he's going over 20, 21, 22, 23.
21. Can you do something for me?
Also in this match, because of Jericho, right? Every time they were outside on the floor or anything else, and there was a ref counting to 8 or whatever else, or like somebody was in the corner, there's punches in the corner, and they're counting to 10. Every time they get to 8, they go, Ocho! So like when they start doing the count for the spin, they get to 8. He goes, Ocho! And then they get to 18 and they're like, Vente Ocho? Or like Ocho, they didn't know what to do. But like once like Cesaro gets to like 26, Jericho starts like, it's like motioning. I'm like, what is this motion? And then the ref calls for the bell and they're like, oh my God, he tapped out to the big swing. I was like, this is genius. Because that's submission. Let me the fuck go. I'm going to hurl. I'm dizzy. Yeah, I was like, yo, this is great. I wasn't expecting it. It was a bit shocking, but like, but once it happened, like, this makes perfect sense, all the sense in the world. Like, he was swung more than anyone's ever been swung. Claudio always stops at 20, keeps going. He's like, yes, this is literally a submission. And I popped for it. I'd probably go like, I can see someone giving this 4. I wouldn't. So I go with 3 3/4. But like, it was a really fun match, and like, that was shocking that I didn't thought that Jericho was going to win again. I was all surprised by that. But like, yeah, it was another really good match between them. Another really good match between them. I don't know what that means for Ring of Honor going forward or Jericho now. But
we'll get into it.
But I think it should be said like this was a very good pay-per-view. And like after all the shit and I like to say, Rich, you cost your own team. You cost JSA. Last week you said with Regal gone, they have officially won the feud. And I got news flash for you. Daniel Garcia, he blew a 3-0 lead. and then like. And then Claudio was whooping Jericho's ass so bad that like 2.0 came out there to help even odds, and then that didn't work, and then that man got swung and then retired, and then get tapped out to give up a belt. Like, I'm sorry, but like JSA, like you set him up for the L. You set him up for the L. You had him with the W, and they ended up giving it right back. They said, "No, we don't want it. We real losers."
Regal went to go put on the jersey that Jericho was talking about. So at the end of the day, Regal, as my man Seamus Nova in the comment section says, Regal joined the sports entertainment team. Rich won the war, bro.
Who won the matches? Yeah. Let's move on. You can talk about this and that, and the metaphorical.
Who really
whatever.
won?
Who
really won, Jazz?
These matches happen, and
he sent the nigga out the company. He don't exist.
And repeatedly, over and over and over, the Blackpool Combat Club whooped that ass. I was willing to give you, the Regal thing because it was funny, but then they were like, "Nah, man, we had enough of these jokes from Rich and Loud on this fucking One Nation Radio podcast. We even end this shit tonight."
So, if that was Jericho's last match, I think that's a hell of a resume for him.
You think this is the last match of the year?
I don't know if he'll be booked necessarily going forward. He might take the year off or the rest of the year off. So the news on this, Tony Khan ended up announcing, they were like, "Hey man, what's up with the television for Ring of Honor?" He's in the scrum and he sets up this long-winded answer, and I could already tell that it was like he don't got no TV deal. Like when I was like, listen to him, I was like, no, like he's telling this long. It's like, bro, like if you were getting interrogated and you were like, well, let me tell you, like, were you there? Did you do it?
It's a long story, bro. Let's start.
Let me take you through it. That's what Tony Khan did in this press room, and not through like the fault of, I would say, Jericho, because obviously he did excellent work.
Yeah.
I think it is fair to question now, like, ROH is going to end up as an honor club. They're going to have some type of New Japan involvement. We kind of mentioned it earlier in the show. But aside from that, they were like, yeah, it's going to be like $9.99. There's a certain amount of hours and footage that's already on it, not the whole library, for what I'm gathering. And there's going to be less ROH presence going forward. I think it's fair to call this for the amount of television time that was spent on this, the brand equity, like when we heard people rightly or wrongly saying, hey man, I don't want to watch this ROH stuff all over AEW. People like, what's the big deal? It's only 3 letters. It's all the same wrestlers. No, like it's not. Like AEW actually means something to people. Ring of Honor does not. And I think, I understand the play for what he was trying to go for. It just didn't work. As far as like trying to land them, a deal somewhere, and it's an L. Like there's no spin out of this, and don't get it twisted. He tried to spin this one, but I feel like we need to really like look at like the last however many months and be like, was that worth it?
Especially at the expense of people that felt like we see them once a month or whatever else in AEW, and like I don't begrudge the Ring of Honor talent that came over, because like generally speaking, they weren't like except for like some of the stuff with Dalton Castle that I just despise. Like it wasn't like oh my god, they're on my screen and it stinks or whatever else, or it's below the standard. Like I enjoyed like the Ring of Honor TV stuff with Joe and Joe and Minoru Suzuki, for example, or whatever else, like Jericho stuff, right? So I don't have much bad to say. It's just that like they made this play and it failed, and like they failed, so we should be able to say, hey, y'all failed at this, and now that this is a failure, now we have to go back and reassess, like, what was the unintended consequences of putting people that like not many people know or are into for that long onto your television at the expense of people like Darby Allin or Miro or whoever else you want to name from other divisions that were like that had followings or had like people interested in them or were invested in them to some extent beyond what the Ring of Honor roster had. Does it mean that I want them all completely off? No. because some of the people are valuable. Like, you say what you want to about Lethal or whatever else, but like, I enjoy when Lethal's on. Lethal normally has very good matches. And I can go on and on. But yeah, that it's a L. It's a L.
Well, I can tell you what I see, like, when I see, like, ROH, kind of, I see, like, no elite wrestling. Like, and it's, like, completely separate apart from, it's just this
except
weird
for, like,
vibe.
Jericho.
Yeah. Like, it's just this weird vibe, like, for whatever it is. It's like, bro, I don't care about 2007 Ring of Honor. Like, the fan bases, I think, have turned over a lot. Maybe it's just me, but maybe it's not either, because I've seen the results. But yeah, man, it's now as far as going forward with that show, gotta wonder what that taping schedule is going to look like. I don't know, but they've got a chance to kind of do something cool with it.
Yeah,
they're going to have to make it must see though, because like they're putting the entire show behind a paywall, and that's smart because they don't have to worry about landing a bad deal and then, the rating or the time slot not being up to par. And then you got to kind of deal with that as well. And if you put it on YouTube, I think that's like just admitting failure, even to a further extent. So at least like try to do something with it. But, until AEW renegotiates their first deal, I don't know how they were planning to sign a second deal right now. Like, it just seems like it's far out there.
Yeah. Do you think that, and obviously I heard, like, was it this week? Rampage. Was Rampage really good?
Was awesome, yes.
What matches were on Rampage? Moxley and Takeshita match.
Takeshita, yes.
Yeah. And then there was what other match was it?
Phenomenal.
What was the other match?
Orange Cassidy defended against Trent Seven.
That's right. Yeah. That was the main event. Yeah. So, maybe with, the pulling back on some of the Ring of Honor stuff, like, they'll focus more heavily on
Sheeta and the Bunny, too.
That's right. And that match was better than I thought it was going to be. So I think maybe, once you pull back on some of the Ring of Honor stuff in the push, if you will, you get focused more on, like, trying to get Rampage back on point. So yeah, like, if the net out of this is like Rampage goes back to what it was the first couple months, then like, oh yes, this was worth it, because get this shit out the way, get back to what we were really doing, and like Ring of Honor could be over there, and like they're welcome in certain spots or whatever else. But not like to where like they're like 15, they're like a half hour of the show every single week.
Yeah, it's just a lot, man. And like even like he wants to run it a certain way, like build it up to where some you can do a show like a ROH versus like AEW show, and you got a lot of like cool options you can do.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that if you do it like that, you're pulling basically like the veterans. Right, like who's the guy that's under 35 that you would put in a ROH versus AEW thing?
I think you leave people over there like Joe, like Jay Lethal.
Joe's up there, Lethal's up there.
Anybody that's young that like maybe you can keep Wheeler Yuta over there. I know you put a lot of TV time into him this year, but I mean, you gotta like someone could be over there.
I think on the pre-show there was a Kingdom versus Top Flight match that was really good, good. And like the way that match went, it was like okay, like when Top Flight was around, it was like they're kind of like that team that just needs to get that that win, and then they're on to something or whatever else. And like maybe, they could make use of them over there. I wouldn't mind them if they're doing double duty, but like, yeah, they could definitely get some mileage out of Top Flight going out there going nuts. So yeah, I don't mind it.
Sam pointed out how I tried to leave the biggest star in the business in ROH.
Yeah, you did do that.
That's funny. So
it's interesting because, like, I guess when we talk about Rampage, I'll like think about the similarity between Takesha's match with Moxley and like that Yuta match with Moxley. because it all came screaming back to me when Takeshi kicked that one. I was like, oh. But yeah, where do you want to go now?
Guess we can talk about AEW Dynamite from last week, and this was in Austin, Texas, and this crowd also all electric. Yeah. I don't want to do the full breakdown. We're already kind of running long on time, but this was a sensational show. This was Samoa Joe and Darby Allin Samoa Joe executing Darby Allin in this match. That was insane.
Darby's going to be in a wheelchair.
I hope not, but I'm sure having fun watching him.
He's taking so many freaking ridiculous bumps, and obviously I say this almost every single time he has one of these matches like this, but it's like it wasn't just like it was one or two, it was like 4 or 5 just ridiculous bumps in his middle of his match, and he's making Joe look like the biggest fucking monster. And take that with the match he had the week before, like Joe was like off and running with these 2 belts, but Darby, I'm concerned for him. He's awesome. He's a great storyteller, and part of the storytelling is like, I'm so much more than these other guys, and these guys are bigger than me, so they can, absorb more force than I can. The only way I can generate this force is if I, hurt my body like a projectile. But man, he's going to splat a lot, and it's concerning me. Because obviously, like, we see him when he's in there, someone smaller than him, like he go out there, he can have great back and forth technical matches and everything. So, like, it's just that they got to try and ration out when he wrestles monsters. Otherwise, it's going to be this. And if it's going to be this for, like, a steady diet of this, it's not going well for him.
I wonder if he feels like he's got to do this stuff so he doesn't fall behind at this point.
I'm sure he feels that way, but, like, do 1 or 2, not 5. You're going to kill yourself.
So the opening half hour of this show kind of belonged to Ricky Starks, though. He won Battle Royal. Essentially, there were a couple key eliminations. Big Bill, as he's known. Oh, yeah.
When did they switch his name to Big Bill? I realized that
the Battle Royal, I think they switched it. He eliminated Jungle Boy, so look out for something with that. But this thing came down to Ricky Starks, pretty much an Ethan Page. And Ricky Starks ended up getting the Battle Royal ring. And then MJF came out there, started cutting a promo on Ricky, laid down some insults, basically called him over, called him a lot of names. He called him, basically said he's the Pebble, and the crowd was chanting for the Pebble. Called him drizzling shits. He's a dollar store Dwayne. Said he's going to send him back to YouTube and the NWA. He basically threw a oop to Starks, and Starks slammed that shit home it was this was the best night of Ricky Starks' career, I think. And I always wanted to see it from him. I still haven't seen it in the ring like that, but if he's going to talk like this, have at it. Starks goes insane, basically saying, calls him Maxi Pad. He does the comedy stuff, and then he calls him the insults, the fifth-rate Roddy Piper stuff, the
low-hanging fruit, talking about the
cheap suits, cheap heat, cheap shoes. Talks about him letting people down in the ring and out the ring.
Money from the grind.
He talks about the autograph shit. He says he's going to smack the mole off his neck. Bunch of stuff. Fires up. Talk about how he was in Austin sleeping in his car, and of course that's going to get over. And this crowd's molten hot for Starks the whole time. And this was I hate to say it, but no, I'm not even going to say it. But
A-Star making promo.
No. I was going to say it reminded me of 2 other wrestlers, in their formative years, but. Then MJF finished it by kicking him low, but he was going to punch him with the ring. Starts hit a big spear, and then he held up the title. Yep. And our match is set for next week.
Yep, speared MJF out of his shoes. This is the best version of MJF because this is similar to what he did with Punk a couple times, where it's you come out, you say your killer lines. And but it is set for you to say your piece and get out the way because someone is going to drop the Thor's hammer upon thee, and he set him up for you to all the criticism you could have are about like what differentiates you from being a knockoff Rock or whatever else. He did it right there because look, there is a particular unique delivery that Ricky Starks has that The Rock absolutely did not, and he put this on full display in a cutting, petty, slanderous way that The Rock never really did. Rock was a jock bully. He was not as cutting as the stuff Ricky Starks was saying, and I think that he clearly separated himself from any of those kind of allegations, if you will. Obviously there are similarities, but like it's saying he's like, you know, like the way people talk about like Eli Drake / what's Eli Drake's name in WWE? LA Knight.
Knight.
Like he completely separated himself. Like, nope, there's some similarities or whatever else, but that's where it stops. And I thought this did a world of favor for Ricky Starks, and Ricky Starks had to go out there and execute it, and it was perfect, and it's one of the best like TV segments of the year. And you know, for all the stuff we said about MJF last week about like we didn't, you know, his first promo or whatever else, like he basically said, "My bad. Let me go back to the basics. Let me go back and get this fixed." And like, this is the reason why, like,
let me be a heel.
And this is the reason why, like, you know, when MJF does stuff that I don't like, I always say what? It's technically always good. It's just, I think he's, you know, some things I just wish he'd take out there. Some of the choice he made. This was a perfect choice, and we got one of the best promos of the year. It's awesome.
Yep. This was awesome. Very eager to see like what this match looks like. And hopefully they deliver. I'd like that.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
Like, don't like waste this. So don't come out here and 3 1/4 this shit, please. So Mox was backstage, said it's All Elite Wrestling, not All Elite Talking, and he's gonna be on Rampage. So what's up? He said, "Hey man, Page wants another piece. He knows where to find him. He's gonna be backstage. He's gonna manage Blackpool Combat Club." Tonight, mentioned the Joe and Darby shit for TNT title. Fucking insane. Go out of your way to watch it. Set up a match with Orange Cassidy for Rampage. After that, we got Yuta and Claudio beating Hager and Garcia. I believe Hager brought a hat for Castagnoli at a certain point. They at the end of this match, though, I think is the real story. They played this pre-taped Regal promo that I think was designed to babyface him on the way out of the company, which I didn't think was necessarily necessary, but I kind of liked I like some parts of it. Like, hey, I'm still teaching you. Now, do you need to fuck your guy out of the world title to teach? Possibly no. I don't think you need to do that.
Right, I'm with you. The ends don't justify the means, but I get what they were going for on babyface him on the way out, and also like in kayfabe, he's at home and he's very, very hurt. So like it's also that part too. So yeah. And also like by doing that, it kind of, you know, I remember you were really down on Danielson that way, and like, you know, if he's getting, you know, written off as he was injured so badly that he has to leave or whatever else, and like it does help in the sympathy department towards Danielson's cause in a way. So I think that's also a part of it too. But I did like the touch. It's just I'm with you. The ends don't justify the means on teaching that kind of lesson.
Yeah, and I don't know. I kind of like the MJF, like it just made him like he's even so much smarter than like MJF still, because like he knew something was going to happen to him. Like, so it's almost like you robbed MJF of the heat a little bit of him fucking this guy, and to frame it as Regal knew he was going to be fucked. Like, maybe I'm thinking about it too hard, but I don't know.
I don't necessarily think you are. I just think that Regal, knowing that MJF was going to screw him, it almost turns him to a martyr, because he's not actually trying to empower MJF. He's actually trying to make like his guys better. But it's like, if you're that smart to realize all this stuff, you couldn't have found a better way than this. That's also what it comes back to. So like you're just like pulling on the thread. You think about it too hard or whatever else. Yeah. So but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I actually kind of enjoyed like seeing that like he's on his way out or seemingly he's on his way out, and he's able to like to say like, hey, like if y'all, you know, it gives him an excuse to want to stick around if as opposed to breaking this thing up if need be.
Yeah, he said he's Blackpool Combat Club for life. I don't know. He's
Blackpool Combat Club life. He's the one that's actually from fucking Blackpool. Like, y'all need to shit after me. The fuck? Yeah, like we gonna keep me out of my group? Like, this is where I'm from.
This is the real William Regal Appreciation Society right here. Like, let that jazz shit fool you. This is what this shit was too. It's the same shit. But yeah, like they did that. As far as the name thing and the Saints for Life, it's like, bro, like I know you're going to WWE. What the fuck? Like I guess I'm not supposed to think about it like that. There's also the
part where like he's not gonna be on screen.
Yeah.
Like was he on? Like he's not allowed to be on screen until like 2025 or something like that.
2024. He's gonna walk. He's gonna moonwalk into a vice president role. So good for him. And these guys continue to carry the name forward and stuff like that. So I've seen people make some theories like maybe Regal basically, you know, he dropped who could possibly break up the group in the promo. Like, I don't know. Like there's
I didn't listen to it that closely.
Yeah, I think it's some conspiracy stuff, but
maybe like the number is on like a QR code or something. I have to click on that and find out the secret meaning. I don't know.
So after that, that just all around, like they're like I like the message of it, but some of it's goofy. But House of Black video, another one. He said I think they're going to be in action next week, so they've been beating the shit out of people every time they've been on screen. They did a pre-recorded interview with Hayter. She basically says she's got a chance to speak. She says she's going to be watching the Regina the Wave title match of Sheeta versus the Bunny. So the winner of that is going to get a shot at her belt. After that, we got a 6-woman Jade Cargill, Layla Gray, Red Velvet taking on Sky Blue, Madison Rayne, Kiera Hogan. This wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Jade basically tags in at the very end. This is all-time match in one sense. But Jade ended up getting the win. She knocked Madison Rayne down with what's her finish? The Jaded,
yeah. Glamazon Slam, yeah.
Yeah, you know who knew that Sky Blue would be carrying the team, as Black Sabre Jr. said. It's yeah. I don't know what we're doing here, man. Like it's getting kind of long in the tooth. Like,
I actually watched a match between like a Black Level Pro match between Jungle Kiona and Sky Blue like this morning. I just decided like randomly type in Jungle Kiona to see what like indie matches were up, and I just clicked on that and watched it. I miss Jungle.
Brewhaven says if Trinity decides to go to AEW, what do you think she does? She could go to AEW. You know, she's friendly with Jade. Saw all those pictures of them at that Hawks game. I imagine some recruiting and questioning was going on. So
yeah, she can't bring her husband though. We have too many legendary tag wrestlers that drive drunk. We can't add more. Can't add more to AEW.
Oh man. You know, I'll say this for Naomi. She's very popular. She, I think, wrestles in a crowd-friendly style. I think that her punches actually look really great because it looks like her punches are something that people would actually throw.
Like shoots.
Yeah.
When she was beating on Mandy Rose ass 2017, 18, that was a blast.
Like, and y'all think I go nuts over the Athena gimmick of destroying the white women, like,
but Naomi's, that was actual evil white woman at that time,
right? Like, let Naomi like get a little piece of that. I think that would work well too because of the punches. Also, they funny comments.
Also, Athena and Naomi also friendly.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. You remember that picture they took at Evolution 2018?
Oh yeah. I remember that one. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think she could slide in that TBS division. She could slide in as. I mean, there's a natural, kind of thing right there with her and Jade. I feel
just
like,
Jade, not that whole entire scene, huh? And everything surrounding Jade, huh?
It's a lot. There's a lot to choose from, man. Why not? Spread it out. So, she can slot in. Like I'd be for it. So,
I mean, if she's a take for me in AEW, she's a take for me. Like the entrance, her own music that she can make, like the gear, all that kind of stuff, the personality, all that kind of stuff, and the ability in the ring. Like I remember, like she had a 4-star match this year with freaking Charlotte of all people. Charlotte ain't really cranking out 4-star matches like she used to. So yeah, I think I would add her, and obviously she's always been someone I always thought was more talented as a promo than she was ever given opportunity to be. And like I think that given what actually is that median women's wrestler on the roster, I think like the added star power of being a former 2-time women's champion in WWE. I think you need Naomi's because it also helps, and plus that they help like the amount of respect she has amongst like that roster. Like you get the ball rolling on this. You see where this could be in like 2-3 years. As far as other people that might want to look elsewhere, like we always. I mean, years ago you talked about like somebody's gonna be a big domino to drop eventually. Like if we start getting some more of these dominoes, this is gonna be real interesting. Like that other side might just say, you know what, we had enough. It doesn't just completely just do away with women's wrestling. We're fucking done. Rock the business now. Like, cause remember how many months ago it was when people were like, hey man, like Andrade's over here, she's pissed. The company's pissed at Charlotte. Like, is she gonna test the waters? Like, I think it's good for the business that there's another company where it's like shit don't go right. People be like, all right, they can always go somewhere else, opposed to they're just stuck. So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a huge Ronda Rousey problem standing in the way right now.
Ooh, yeah.
That's like this roadblock I think everyone's got to get through, and
they can't bring her back after WrestleMania, can they?
Bro, they have to finish her up. Like if it's me, right, and I'm paying her what I'm paying her, and I'm getting the results that I'm getting out of it, I sit her down and be like, I think we've gone as far as we can go. I'd like to.
If you want to continue this, try your luck in AEW.
Boy,
oh my god! No, never mind. I take it back. How can I bring it back from the air? Oh my god, bro! If Ronda Rousey in AEW, that would be one of the worst fits in the history of major American professional wrestling,
bro. Like that would be so bad. Like I would be coming on this show miserable every week.
Rich, nobody wants her in WWE. You think? What do you think the crowd wants? What do you think AEW crowd wants?
The WWE fans are trying to get her fired. They have her trending every week to be fired. Yeah. James is getting sworn at in the.
Yeah, I see that.
God damn.
I see that.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy.
I see that.
But yeah, man, shame on you, Dr. Josie. Damn, god damn.
Hey,
yeah.
you see this say me. Look, you said Dr. Joshi. I don't know why you say that shit. I'm not saying nothing about no Joshi and Ronda Rousey. You leave that shit over there. After the response just got from just AEW, I damn sure ain't bringing this shit up for no Joshi.
Ronda Rousey beating down Azumi. Like, what the fuck?
God.
Oh my god.
No, thank you.
Don't want it.
It's
don't want it. Don't need it. Don't want it. Don't need it.
Better tell her to get back in that cage if you need some money. Tell her to get back in that cage. You need some money.
All the people that whooped her is washed up now, so she might, want to run it back. Wow, Ronda and GCW. All this shit is fake.
Oh my god. GCW. Yikes.
Holy shit.
Like, bro, can you imagine like one of these goofy ass all-star matches or goofy ass like matches that Ronda Rousey versus Maki Ito and GCW?
Bro, Zach Maki brings up a good point. So he's going to try to get Paige Van Zandt and Ronda working together, knowing TK.
Oh my God. We haven't seen her like all year.
Bro, they finished her up.
We haven't seen her. God. Have we seen her since like past like Revolution?
No.
Yeah, like when's the last time you seen?
Said put her against AJ Gray. Oh my God.
Yeah.
James Brown YO says, "Look, that starting promoter is about $1. All I'm saying."
Look. So we talked about FOH coming this weekend.
Oh, Ronda
will be drafted, y'all. She will be drafted.
Y'all want an epic all-time burial? It's coming. I'm going to put her in the nominees. Now, if you guys have anything you think would be a great FOH topic in the Social Suplex Discord, there is a FOH draft nominees there. Feel free to contribute to that. Got to our main event. This is the Acclaimed taking on FTR. This match was awesome.
Yes.
Crowd went up for both teams. They laughed a lot. Like Max Caster's rap was pretty good. Said he was going to lose. Like I think it was some. I couldn't remember.
Lose like Herschel Walker.
Yeah, lose like Herschel Walker.
He at the end he stumbled those words, so like he had to spit it out to make sure like he got the choke off on time at the bar. They
went off and they had an awesome match. This was very good. I went 4.5 on this. I can see that. I was looking at Anthony Bowens like, bro, just watch him in the match, like just moving back and forth between opponent to opponent. It was like, bro, this dude's fucking raw. Like, like it was just like, it was a good night for the Acclaimed, and I think it was a even better night for FTR and on. Those fucking psychopaths that sat all year and blew up the ranking system and just made us like the I miss FTR shit while they're like on the fucking show and all this shit that like what they're acting like wasn't happening when it was happening. I'm glad the Acclaim just beat these boys clean and moved the fuck on. Jesus. And I've been saying for months and months and months, and I don't know if I said it on the show, but in group chats, James can verify, I said FTR would never, ever win all four.
Yeah. All right, Rich. So,
Jesus.
Just a little bit of housekeeping. Hey, man, I didn't think you were ever going to actually say FTR not on screen. I had said that shit last week or whatever else, and my plan was like, this is going to stay in the house. I didn't think we were ever actually going to deploy that one, but damn, all right.
I was feeling it at the time, as Jeezy said.
But yeah, man, this was a great match and very satisfying.
Black Saber Jr. Someone on Twitter said Bowens is Frank Ocean Tanahashi. What? Restrain that gentleman.
I don't even know what any of that means. But yeah, great match. And I didn't buy into the near falls like seemingly everybody else did. But yeah, like the crowd was going nuts over some of the near falls for it. But yeah, I'm lower on you than this, but I can see why people will give this 4.5. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the Acclaim stuff, it goes back to Swerve and Our Glory, like getting them on the map with having really great matches, and rolling through FTR here. So like these guys have turned into top merch sellers in the promotion, and they beat FTR, they beat Swerve and Our Glory. Ride this shit out, like let them beat a couple more teams, like let them get to like Revolution or something.
Are they the biggest success story of the company this year?
I think you got to put them on the list.
Yeah, I think you got to put them on the list as far as like, not necessarily like a known quant entity, but like not necessarily like this huge thing, and then they start the ass boy stuff and the daddy ass stuff, and then it just keeps the momentum starts going downhill, and now here they are, like they're tag champs that are loved by the crowd, and like they're now having great matches. with some great big matches when it's asked upon them to have it. So yeah, they have definitely leveled up. Like, I mean, they're a breakthrough, like, most improved / breakthrough thing for this year. There definitely should be candidates from on year-end awards. Definitely.
Yep. So yeah, love this match. The crowd was hot. Love this show. This ruled. And they announced the match with the Briscoes after. Of course, we reviewed that earlier. Yep. And then fucking Rampage. Welcome back, Konosuke Takeshita.
Match is awesome. So there was a lot of, we just mentioned the match might have been a 4.5-star match. A lot of people think there was a match of the year contender happened this weekend. This match is the match I'll probably rewatch first out of anything from AEW / Tony Khan this week.
I think this is my favorite match of either that or the tag title match from Wednesday. Are the two matches I like the most.
Mm-hmm. They had a match. They had a match earlier this year that was also awesome. This one was a sequel to it, and like it shows progression of Takeshita's now. Like, instead of he got put away, like he gets to the point to where he gets hit with the paradigm shift and it's seemingly over, and this fucker kicks it one. And like I am immediately transported back to the beginning of the year when Yuta is fighting to get into Blackpool Combat Club, and like Yuta gets fucking mollywopped, gets his ass kicked, he's bleeding all over the place, and then he gets hit with a paradigm shift, and Yuta kicks it too. And like for me, that was kick out of the year. But this is like off of 1 count, and I was like, fuck. God damn, this is good. And I was in for whatever was remaining of the match, but like, yeah, man, the crowd from that point on was like rooting for Takeshita to fucking fight and fight.
Wooing Moxley.
And ultimately he's getting put away. But like, yeah, man, like this is like when they announced the match on the screen before on Dynamite and the crowd popped for the match, it was like he's a known entity now. Like, it's not like he just comes out, on the ramp, puts his arms in the air, and then, like, they're kind of quiet, and then he has the matches, and then they go off. Like, they remember him, they believe in him because of the level of matches he's had, and now it's a matter of getting him in a program or getting him in a situation. Like, obviously, they're doing something with him and Catalyst, but, like, getting him to where, like, they're, like, they can see the momentum of this guy can win big matches against a big star, and it's going to happen eventually.
It is time to start the push. It's like this guy's incredible. And he had like just a rash of matches earlier this year that I don't know if like I don't want to say people don't remember because I think they do remember, but it was almost like, okay, it was cool for him to lose those ones. Now it's like let's get to the wins. Like people want this guy to win. I think he should end up being the first Japanese wrestler to ever hold the AEW championship at some point. And I said he would be a big test as opposed to getting somebody when they were 37 years old to get them when they're 27 in America. And he's already a ready-made main eventer already. Like, so there's not as much, I think, growth needed in Takeshita's case. So they clearly have an interest in him. Like, I feel like these losses are kind of calculated. There's built-in stories for them. You mentioned the Callus thing. That leads to thinking there's some type of elite thing with him. I think he's in good hands. So, like when I think about guys like that, I'm excited about the future for and that can define this promotion. Konosuke Takeshita, run it up.
Yeah. It's weird, right? Because like I think it's the first time we both saw him in the same match, the Cyber Fight tag match. Or had you seen him before then?
I'd seen him before then.
It's just funny because it's like the first, like, because last year I was looking through my notes last year, for like match ratings, and like it's just funny, like because this is when I was explaining to Dave Finish like how I rate matches and whatever else, like for stuff that's like kind of like what my fallback is when I'm stuck in between a rating. And like I saw like that Cyber Fight tag match of him and Ueno versus Kaito Kiyomiya and Yoshiki and whatever kind of name, Yoshiki, big dude. But anyway, and it's just funny because like, it's my first time ever seeing him. I was like, oh, this is Pocket Okada. Like he's 6'2" Okada, so obviously younger. And
I think he gets more vertical and like probably does like more like power element stuff.
He's buffer.
Yeah.
But just like as far as just watching him, just like it took me one watch to be like, oh yeah, that's all it took. And then like to see it like he comes over here and is like. All I saw was one match and I fucking knew. Like, just imagine, like, this is why I finished shows like, he has, like, the charisma of the Ultimate Warrior just from wrestling, not from running down to the ring. It's like, yeah, he's fucking awesome. And, you know, I'm interested to see, like, where they can take this and what the height of this can be, but, like, the in-ring thing is not going to be a problem, because he's just fucking fantastic. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's been for years. If we just, obviously, you know, it's DDT, so who the fuck can know? Or how many people possibly knew that from here. But yeah.
Mox has another one on the board at the end of the year. So like it was like, yeah, man, just going to crank another one of these out. And I think he was sick too.
Yeah.
Shots to him. So yeah, man, just rebirthing Rampage. I think I heard like even Brian and Vinny was like the match that saved Rampage or some shit like that. We had we had Hangman Page run out, and this man put on a LeBron James "You Bum of the Week" jersey, like in full form fitting. Like he came out and got on the mic, and I forgot what he said, but he stole on Mox. Mox rolled out the ring, and then he got fucked up, caught off guard somewhere, and he got his ass thrown into the post and whooped and separated essentially. And I was like, "What you doing, bro? Why'd you start the fight and then end up on your ass?"
But it's not just that. He started the fight against a person that just had like one of the better TV matches in the world of the year, and it was a very contested, like competitive match, and then it loses like that. And I was like, "All right, look, I'm glad they're doing this feud. Hangman Page has to win this match. There's no way you can be doing this to him and he's gonna fucking lose his match. There's no way. Can't be. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna kill him if he loses his match after this shit. That shit was embarrassing. Like, bro, you really? You stole on this dude? He tired as hell. He still up your ass? This is shit that would happen in WWE that we would murder. Like, I think last time this happened was when Starks attacked Hobbs. And then Hobbs whooped Stark's ass early in the year.
Yes.
It's just embarrassing, bro.
Yep. Brewhaven said, Mox and Hangman bringing back toxic masculinity, greater than sign. That's awesome.
That was good.
We got Hikaru Shida versus the Bunny. Always happy when I see the Bunny on the screen. Hikaru Shida is defending the Regina the Wave Championship here. James, can you tell people what the Regina the Wave Championship is, please?
It's the top women's title in Pro Wrestling Wave. Pro Wrestling Wave is a promotion that, like, a lot of times in the 2000s and 2010s featured the likes of, like, Asuka and WWE. And also, like, a lot of freelancers over time in recent years. A lot of freelancing. At this point now, they're like a freelance comedy promotion right now. But whatever. They've had a lot of good wrestling. Like, one of my favorite wrestlers from, like, going back and watching, like, some of the older Joshi is like Ohata. And like her and Narisa Nakajima had like slugfest. But yeah, that's Wave.
Yeah, man. And they had a solid match here. This was better than I thought it would be. So, Shida has seeming like a whole different look now. Different hairstyle, all that stuff. So she's kind of getting back in the groove. I don't like when she goes missing for a long time.
Same.
And every time I see her, I'm happy to see her. So the winner of this match ended up getting Jamie Hayter next week, at Winter is Coming. So Sheeta's gonna take on Jamie Hayter. That should be fun.
Yeah. So I thought this match was a lot better than it had any business being from what you would expect from these two. But I think mostly it came down to is like Sheeta was like, "Hey, just sit here and get hit a lot, and then we'll get out of here." And it was a very good strategy because it worked out very well. Let me just beat your ass, and you'll get a little. We'll have Penelope come out here and cheat a little bit, and then I'll cut that off and I'll beat your ass some more, and I'll come out and thwart her and then beat your ass, and then we'll get out of here. It worked, very successful. Let Sheeta beat ass.
Yep. So after that, we got Orange Cassidy taking on the debuting Trent Seven, who is Kip Sabian's mystery man. Danhausen did some funny ass shit. Like, he popped up in front of Mark Henry. Mark was like, "What are you doing?" And I think that's like Danhausen's popped me like a handful of times, and that's one of them.
This is why he keeps making money. He's funny. Also the Big Bill and Moriarty squash. Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. What's up, Rocky Winter? First time chatter. Make sure you follow, bro.
So.
I always wondered what it would be like for Big Bill to have a good wrestler as a tag team partner. I think this could work.
Okay. I don't know. I want to see what they do in a competitive match at first. But yeah.
All in on Big Bill.
But back to the Mark Henry thing with Danhausen. So I had this thought because they're in Texas. Like, if just for one week, if they swapped out Kendrick Perkins and Mark Henry, would it make much of a difference?
We would not notice a bigger man with a Texas accent that speaks slowly. We would not know the difference.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Is I was wondering how Kendrick Perkins saying it's time for the main event. Would people really notice that for oh wait, actually, they both have beards now. So, actually, no, it wouldn't be much. People would be like, wait a second, Mark has hair again? What's going on here? They don't look except for the facial hair, but you get my point is, I wonder, how many people will be thrown off guard by seeing Mark in a little screen, and they'd be like, wait, that's not Mark. Who is that? Is that Kendrick Perkins? I just wonder how that would work. And then, also seeing on the other end, Mark giving, the level of analysis, of deep analysis that Kendrick Perkins gives on the NBA today, how much of a difference would it be between Mark Henry, a world class Olympic powerlifter, and a former NBA champion, Kendrick Perkins? Well, how long before people realize that? Wait a second, Mark, I don't know what he's talking about. Neither do Kendrick Perkins. Y'all let him on TV. Who gives a damn? They both charismatic, ain't they? Shut up and let that man talk. Get out the way. Clear out.
That's a good one. How long you been thinking about that?
Yesterday. I thought about this shit yesterday. I was like, I'm gonna get this one off. I can remember to think about that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Danhausen thing. Otherwise, I've been lost forever.
Wasabi King. Why is Mark Henry hating on Steph Curry? That's a good one. James Brown
I get you. It's actually funny because after that Celtics game last week. From the weekend or whatever else, Kendrick Perkins said something you see what Steph and Clay did, you see what Jason Tatum did, and he was like, there's different shades of this light skin thing. Boy, I fucking howled. Did you send that to me?
Yes. I didn't know. Look, I didn't know. I didn't know Kendrick Perkins knew that. That's what we normally talk about in the secret light skin meetings. I didn't know he was privy to that.
Oh my God.
James Brown Wild says Big Bill and Lee is wrestling Remember the Titans. Jesus. This tag team is healing racial tension. Bro, Big Bill is so jacked and swole. Bro, I don't know how that man didn't end up back in WWE.
That man is as tan as the boots he's wearing.
Yes, that man looks wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got Orange Cassidy against Trent Seven, and I was puzzled. I was like, why is Trent Seven here? Why? What's going on here?
Look, bro, I got let go. I came over here in the transfer over to NXT UK. Like, I got a work visa to get on. I gotta hit the ground running, bitch. Fuck you mean? They're gonna send me back.
The bills are due.
Yes, rent money due, right? So yeah, they put him to work, and like obviously everyone has a thing about Trent's, his look and his physique and all that kind of stuff.
Bro, he looks like Raiden right now, bro.
With
like
the hair, yeah.
This man got long gray hair now.
He does. He does look like was it Chris Lambert? I think was his name.
Yes.
Highlander too. But yeah, like the thing about Trent is like all that stuff is valid or whatever you want to say. And then the bell rings and he's fucking really good every single time I see him. So yeah, he's chopping the shit out of Orange Cassidy, and they were doing a playoff of the thumbs up and the mustache and all kind of stuff. And like they just kept going, and they had a good ass match. And I hadn't seen Trent. I hadn't seen Trent wrestle in a minute. And like last thing I heard about him was him doing the feud with Bate. But yeah, like it was good to see him, and like he's still fucking good. And Orange Cassidy keeps it rolling with quality, US or not US,
bro,
but
I feel
all
like
Atlantic title matches.
I feel like, and this started obviously before his title reign, but like Orange Cassidy is just like the king of the succinct, like 8 to 10 minute television match. Like,
here's a question. When people were complaining about Wardlow and the TNT title and everything, and like how he's not defending it, like did people just not realize that like Orange Cassidy more or less like took that trap of being like, I'm the TV title guy more or less? Did people realize that happened? Did they even realize it happened?
I think people saw it was Orange Cassidy, and then the people that are very loud and vocal about not liking Orange Cassidy was saying Wardlow's being wasted by him even selling for Orange Cassidy, made that the dominant narrative.
Okay.
Even though that match was awesome. And it, like, and Wardlow had
both of them when that could have been that was an easy booby trap that could have hurt Wardlow along the way. It didn't. Other stuff got in the way for Wardlow.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I see people in the comments saying, hey, man, like, if he's going to be here, can he, like, help lure in Tyler Bate?
They're not letting go of Tyler Bate.
Not in this regime.
Look, if we get Mustache Mountain in AEW, if we get Mustache Mountain in AEW, how long do you think it'll take me to get a Mustache Mountain t-shirt? How long do you think before we get on, like, okay, they sign, let's say this, right? Trent Seven is the All Elite. The Tyler Bate is All Elite on the January 11th Forum show, right? How many weeks before you see me in a Mustache Mountain AEW shirt, like on the stream? How many weeks do you think it'll take?
Probably a month.
Because it takes 2 weeks for the shirt to ship out, right?
And then maybe you just want to wear something different one day. Okay. And then
but that's how soon it would be. Yeah. I fucking love Mustache Mountain. They're awesome. So yeah, they know better. They look. Triple H ain't no fool. Like we let him go over there. Especially now,
man. That man acting like he want to put Sanity back together. So I don't know, man. Like Triple H is like, how we say there are complicated figures and be like, yeah, man, I can't rock with all of his politics, but he does some good and bad too. Like I feel like Triple H, that's his main roster booking destiny. Like there's gonna be stuff that he's just doing, and then there's gonna be the moves people normally would like.
Like, I mean, there's something to that. I think there's something to that. I just think, like, personally, like, he knows how talented those people are. And also, like, those are, like, his guys for the UK thing. Like, he believed in British Strong Style heavy. Much the same way, like, he believed in, like, Undisputed and Gargano and Ciampa. But, like, that doesn't mean that, like, he doesn't think he can believe in them, like, at a higher level necessarily. But, like, he would like to keep them there forever. And that's the problem. Because if you're there forever, then it's like, okay, so this isn't developmental, and like this is like you're just hoarding talent. That's ultimately what happened with the NXTs.
So Brewhaven said he's stuck in 2014 to 2020 NXT. Man,
yeah, those are his guys.
Yeah,
but here's the thing, right? So many people on the roster came out of NXT that like you can make the argument about all that stuff because of course it was going to be that because that was the point of NXT was all those people were eventually to the main roster and become the main roster and it's always weird when people talk about like who are Triple H's favorites depending on like who was on top during their run in NXT. It's interesting. It's like people talk about like the Gargano and Triple H thing. Or Cole or Triple H, but like they won't talk about like I don't know Kyrie or Io or Sasha or Charlotte or everybody else that was someone that he was pushing at some point in NXT. It's weird how people get that and who doesn't, and like I don't know why that is.
Triple H is too busy hiring Sarah Logan's rank ass feet and Mercedes Moné is moonwalking the Bushi Road.
I mean, look. Obviously, one's a lot cheaper than the other one.
Indeed. Triple H has a mid batting average right now, looking like Ryan Howard. Jesus. Ryan Howard always struck out, bitch.
Yeah, but Ryan Howard also, hitting home runs. What home runs is Triple H necessarily hitting right now?
Bro, it's looking
bad. I mean, outside of the big shows, his pay-per-views are better, obviously, but you get my point. What was I going to ask you? Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. So, look, can you imagine if we found out that Sarah Logan was out here ripping up like the average salary status in WWE because she came back, but not Sasha? That would be like, wait, what? What's happening over there? All right, man. Look, you need to send Triple H over with Riddle over there in rehab because something bad is going on over here. Something very, very bad is going on over here.
They got Pete Dunne to stay once upon a time, and I think that was while Vince was around.
Yeah.
James Brown was saying, why don't any real hoopers want to stay? Look, here's a question. Why does Triple H keep sending all the brothers back to NXT? Look, and I heard in Storyline they fired Bobby Lashley tonight. So look, you never know where he might pop up.
Okay, the NXT or the New Day thing. Who else is there for the New Day? It got moved down.
Look,
Apollo Crews.
The New Day. Apollo was in the main event.
Yeah.
They moved Ricochet at one point down there.
But that was for a spot though, right?
I don't care. Ricochet, they had him there.
So how's that from home? So how is like for a spot going down? Like Apollo Crews is actually just down there, right? I don't know if New Day is going to be down there, but like,
well, they got the belts,
right? So. Yeah, but like, so did Dolph Ziggler. Like that was like you went in and then you just drop it right back. I think that might be the same situation, but like. We've had AJ, no, not AJ. We've had Finn Balor down there. We've had Charlotte down there. We've had multiple people down there. Like, are you just saying this particular?
This is all happened. This has all happened in the last like 2 or 3 months.
So the whole history don't count. It's just like this last batch is what you're getting at.
Yes.
Well, what wasn't
since Triple H took charge, since he got in power?
Wasn't AJ down there recently?
I don't know.
I think AJ Styles was down there recently. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I get the point. Whatever.
R-Truth was down there. They sent him down there and he got injured.
Okay. The Ricochet thing was a Ricochet Carmelo Hayes thing. I don't know if that. I think it was a one-off. I don't know if he was there for long.
All I'm saying is keep your eyes open.
Who else is going to sit down there? Who else? Who's next?
Anybody black.
Anybody black.
It could be Lashley next. Look, I know what the North American titles stand for. I know what the letters N and A mean, All
right, where do we go from here?
We go home.
Okay. That's in the show, y'all. Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate somewhere app you're using to listen to this with. If you are watching from the stream, you can see in the or on the screen, you can see links to the Cash App and to the PayPal. And then if you are listening from the podcast, you can go to our show notes or show description and find the link to our website where you can donate there. And listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Man Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, great match generator. Get in the ring and meet the press slam. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
You're finally at that hot new spot, the one your friends keep raving about, sitting across from your date. It's going...
Another round?
Really well. And that dish you've been dying to try, oh, it's headed your way. You can smell it, hear it sizzling fresh off that skillet as it comes closer, closer, and served. Go ahead, enjoy. After your phone sneaks a bite first. When you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is here, and so is Mountain Dew. Roger that. Now you can unlock in-game rewards like only Dew can. Wait, what rewards? A Dew Operator Skin. Man, I love Operator Skins. Dual double XP, and even Call of Duty points. You're kidding me. Double XP and Call of Duty points? This is incredible. I can't believe it. Soldier, get a hold of yourself. Oh, roger that. Look for specially marked packaging and visit mtndewgaming.com for details and restrictions. Open to U.S. residents 17+. Call of Duty points available on 12 and 24 packs and free 20 and 23.